Okay, no, I went live only because I'm trying to diagnose a problem. Now I'll admit that I was we have Taj of Taj Investigates that we're going to be speaking to today. Um, I I'm trying to figure out we he's in the it looks like he's in the backstage, but we're having some trouble adding him to the stream. So I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I don't know how this stuff works. So I thought to myself, well, gee, if it was scheduled to start at 5, maybe that's the problem. So let me just see. If I add him to the stream, I don't know. Like he's showing up nothing for me. Here we go. Yushk. If that is helping or hurting. I do not know if that is helping or hurting. Yush. Come on. Maybe if I hold on. Let me do this. I'm gonna kick him from the studio. Hold on. No, copy the clipboard. Okay. Okay, now so I pray to Black Lady Jesus that Taj is monitoring the stream so that in some way, shape, or form I can relay information across the hemisphere to just call me Andy Gibb because I got to no, he wasn't in the Bee Gees. Just call me Robin Gibb because I just got to get a message to you. Resent the link. I reset the link. If that helps, it won't help. It won't help. Nothing will help. See what's going on. It's not okay. Okay, Taj. Okay, Taj says I'm here. I resent the link. Let's try it one more time. There. Up. Okay, this is like I'm getting you like a little box for you with your name, but I'm not getting like video or audio feed. That helps. You're in this no, but like look, I mean you don't let me if I add you to the stream, nothing happens. No. I hear you. Maybe you can Jimmy the mic because you like here. Watch this. Watch this. That's you. We get nothing. So I know you appear in the like. So normally, what happens is this: if I'm looking at StreamYard, in the lower left hand of the corner, there will be like me, add to the stream, or someone else. Alfie Salmons gives us great advice. Unplug, then replug, blow into the Nintendo cartridge. You could also start, I had one friend who would bang it on his ass. It was terrible. Firewall, you don't know. Let's see. Oh, Taj will reboot. Taj will reboot. Now, the one thing I need to make abundantly clear is that I am not here. Taj is a human being who obviously is in a very different space of the community than I am. When we started talking about this interview, we talked a little bit via email about what we were going to cover and what I want to talk about. And two things. Number one, I said, look, we obviously have very different points of view about a lot of things. but I can promise you a respectful conversation. I'm not going to scream or yell, but obviously, like, look, I've been aware of Taj, and Taj has been aware of me since the dawn of time, since like 2015 on YouTube or thereabouts. Um, I know we like may have had email exchanges going back as far as like maybe 2016. I don't know exactly where it was, but you know, it doesn't take much. I've spoken to Sarah Adams on the phone. There was a controversy regarding another individual who I was interacting with, and she had strong feelings about that person. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a known quantity, and so Taj obviously has to understand that I come from a very different perspective and point of view. But I intend to be true to my word. It's like, obviously I'm not going to, be able to carry water for the Sarah Adams project. And we're here not just to talk about Sarah Adams, like Taj. I'm interested in speaking to him because I believe that his motivation, he's the reason we're talking about even Sarah Adams, if you're not familiar with her or her work, is that Taj is her business manager. Um, and he's been associated and has been working with her, to my knowledge, for going on years now. So I think that there's some questions that we can ask, um, about the whole Sarah Adams project and like I guess the business, for want of a better word, that we could talk about. Here's the other funny story. So I intend to be respectful and dignified, but I'm not going to be able to just give everyone a pass, and that's not my truth. But if it resonates with you, I mean, we have to have a discussion. But I think the point, I think actually, let's see. Oh, come on, baby. Ooh, you son of a gun. Come on now. I don't want to jinx it by doing anything. So he's shown up again, but I get no camera feed. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Hold on. Oh, maybe we're getting more. Oh, signs happening. Hey, Taj, what's going on? It's Benjamin Zavadnik, aka C.W. Chanter. Right. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Because if I add you to the stream, like nothing comes up. Let's see. Let's add you to the stream, and if you talk, I can't. Hold on. No, I can hear you over the phone, but I can't hear you. Let me see if I do this. Yeah. 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 Well, I can't. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me mute you over here. Hold on. Talk. See if you can. If I can. Okay. Hold on. Let me try this one more time. Let me do this. Let me kick you from the studio and try and just hit the link again and see what happens. 3 times the charm. Why not, right? So I'm gonna kick you from the studio. Then I'm gonna kick you. Okay, okay. So I kicked you. Okay, so now just let's see if you can rejoin. I think everyone's hearing this conversation. Well, at least they know I'm not bullshitting. Worst case, I mean, I don't want to swing the international, fees on the phone call. I'd say just hit speaker if you were local, but I called you on the number that's listed on your email. Oh, it's not? Okay, well, let's see. Oh, wow, okay. Let's see what happens. Let me try one more thing. Okay. The most compelling YouTube stream ever. So let me what's a US well, it's a US number. So this is like a local, I don't know if it's a local call, but I could put you on speakerphone. I don't know if that's gonna suck. Okay. We don't we don't want to do that. Okay, so I don't know what to do. Okay, let me do this. I'm gonna hang up the phone. Here's what we'll do. I'll kick you from the studio one more time. I'm not banning you, so you should be able to hit the link. I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna resend. I'm gonna refresh the whole thing. I'm gonna hit the refresh button on the web page. Then I'll resend the link, and we'll see if that does anything. Who knows, right? Okay, talk to you soon. It's compelling YouTube, huh? Yeah, we're directly over the target. That's why. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Let's see if this works. Hold on. No, whatever, dude. Okay, hold on. Let me try this. Did that do anything? Okay. Christ Almighty. Okay. Let me do this. You know what I mean? This is like, okay. I'm trying to resend this here. So how's everybody doing? Smash that like button. Today, we're going to bring you the hottest action in the known universe. An interview with nobody. No, we're going to make it happen. Come on, Black Lady Jesus. Come on. Uh-oh. No, this is StreamYard. I'm not going to try a different browser. I don't have a different browser. Let's see what happens. So what's frustrating is that, like, so we see him, it's as if he's in the background. It's like as if he's backstage waiting to be let in. But you can tell, especially at this point in the proceedings, that this is not going to work. If I add him to the stream, like nothing is going to happen. Come on. Wait. Hold on. Truth Seeker suggests telling Taj to click on the cam mic settings. Hold on one second. Let's see what this does. I don't know if I can hear him now. Taj? We got nothing, folks. It has been suggested that Taj should click on the cam mic settings. Okay, so maybe by way of introduction, we're the oh, Christ Almighty, Christ on a camera is off, mic is on. Try turning the camera on and the mic off. Jesus Christ. There's movement. Hold on. Taj? Wait, because there's some sort of action happening in the little box. Taj? So how about those Seahawks? Control Alt Delete. There you go. So, by way of introduction, Taj of Taj Investigates. I first became aware of him when he was working. At first, the first time I think I saw him on YouTube, he was doing IT work for Miles Johnson. So it was one of Miles Johnson's basis project, like one of his fast blasts or something like that. And Taj was introduced. And here's the other thing. So I'll tell this story. Maybe this is funny. Hello? Almost. So, I contact Taj. I think it had appeared in the live chat or something. And I said, "Oh, Taj, I would love to set up an interview with you." And a brief email exchange started, and he says, "Well, he basically said, well, do you want to interview Sarah?" And I said, "No. I'd want to interview you. Sarah's talked all over the place. She's been on Coast to Coast, Gaia TV, whatever." I said it would be cool if I talked to you, right? So we do this whole thing, and then we get to the point. This is like going on, weeks, because me and email. I treat the email like it's the Pony Express. Ask Pragmagic, ask Stephen Canby, ask anyone who's ever had an email exchange with me. Alfie Solomons, where's this T-shirt conversation we're supposed to have? Anyway, 41 people watching, nothing. Great, wonderful. It you know what I mean? It can overcome. Jesus Christ. Wish I ever remove him. Then I add him again. What if I remove my? Hello? Okay. Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, Alfie Solomons T-shirts. What the hell am I talking about? God damn it. You know what I mean? No, I'm not. Truth Seeker says just put him on speakerphone and share screen a picture of him. I'm not paying long distance. No, there's no way. There's no way. It is what it is. Give him the number to the office. Let him call it. I don't know if he wants to do that. Let me see. Well, let's see what's happening. This is nuts. This is just nuts. Son of a bitch. What if I do this? Come on. It's like it's got him on, but Christ. Oh, Todd says he can call me if that works. Hold on. Well, do you have the number that I just called you on? If you have the number that I just called you on, you can call me back because I called you from the office line. Okay, here we go. Pizza Hut. I'm kidding. Yeah, how you doing? Let's put it on speaker and see what happens. Hold on. Okay. Now let's see. The craziest thing is that my mic is so banged up that if I move the mic, it'll like cut off. So I have to do this. Let's see. Hold on. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll ask the community if they can hear you okay. Taj, like give a little speech and we'll see if they can hear you.
Hi, this is Taj. How's everyone doing?
Can
you hear me?
Can you hear Taj? It's low. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try this a little bit differently. Hold on. I gotta move this like I'm moving the friggin' sacred grail. Okay. Can you hear him now?
Hi, it's Taj again. Can everyone hear me?
Okay. Can you hear him? Let me try this. Hold on. Like I said, this might. Can you hear me? Now I gotta figure out if they can hear me because the mic went in and out. Okay. Oh, you gotta be son of a bitch. Now, oh my god. Hold on. you. Hold on. This is insanity. Oh, let's try this one more time. Okay. Now, can you hear Taj? Speak to the people.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Can everyone hear him? Can we get a couple of rounds of happy birthday? I'm going to assume that they can hear you. Let's see what happens. My God. And no offense, listen, no offense, Taj. I'm not an IT guy, right? And everybody knows that I've got the technical capabilities of, no offense, Sarah Rachel Adams, right? I need someone to operate my freaking cell phone or my email address. Taj. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll make the best out of the bad situation. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So look, we had a brief email exchange. I mean, obviously it would have been ideal if we had the opportunity to, have spoken briefly, before we started the session. I honestly started the live stream before you joined with the best of intentions, hoping that might have some effect on our ability to connect. So, hey, where to start? Where to begin? Well, how are you doing tonight? What time is it for you?
It's just gone 10:30 in the evening here.
Okay.
In the UK.
Okay, there you go. So, I mean, are you a bit of a night owl?
Yeah, I'm usually up quite late. Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully that's not going to have any bad effect or anything. So we'll have time. It's funny, Taj. We were actually talking about this interview, and I was just starting to tell people the story. When we were talking initially, there was a question about whether I was going to try and set up an interview with you, or whether I was going to try and set up an interview with Sarah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, no, I want to interview you. And then it wasn't until maybe our fourth or fifth email exchange where we started talking about what we might want to discuss, where I said, well, I'd be really interested also in exploring, if you're comfortable with it, your relationship as your interactions with Sarah as her business manager. And
That's fine,
yeah. And then you actually said to me, well, I actually already covered this with Steven, but if you want to talk about it again, I'm fine. And I was like, I had no idea that Steven had interviewed you.
Yeah, I was on Steven's show earlier this year.
Right.
On his series called The Strange Case of Sarah Adams.
Right. So I watched that brief 30-minute interview you had with him, and I was like, son of a bitch, because 90% of the questions that I was going to ask you, he asked you. But hey, look, worst case scenario, we have people studying for the exam. They can hear the story twice, and that was last year. So maybe some things have changed. So Taj, I don't know.
It was probably 6 months ago. I think it was like April or May this year, I think.
You're right.
But, yeah, I mean, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know me, I manage Sarah Adams, who was Max Beer's ex-partner. I've worked with her since early 2016, where I was her personal assistant. Basically, as far as being a business manager, what I do is I look after her schedule, I book in clients, I take care of any travel arrangements that she needs, booking hotels, flights, basically anything that Sarah needs, I take care of on a day-to-day sort of basis. I correspond with all the emails, I look after her website. I manage the team, which is basically myself, Sarah, and we have a graphics designer, a web developer that we're working on a new website. We have a marketing team of 2 people that we just hired earlier this year. So I manage all those people with regular weekly meetings, updates, and I give Sarah the progress of what's going on with the new website, anything that she needs to know. That's basically my day-to-day job.
Right. So listen, look, if any of my questions seem untoward or personal or loaded or anything, tell me, honestly. It is my intention not to engage in any sort of gotcha journalism. It is honestly my intention to have a real, conversation, like I said in emails, to show and demonstrate to the community that 2 people with very, very different views of things can, speak and get along civilly. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Right. The first thing I'm going to ask you is, when you became her personal assistant, to what degree did she need a personal assistant? Because my feedback on it is that I remember, when she started appearing on the Basis Project in circa 2016, it was her and Max occasionally appearing on Miles Johnson's Basis Project. And it's like, what did you need to do as her personal assistant in the beginning?
Back in 2016, I was just arranging interviews for her. So just before Max died, I arranged interviews with like Coast to Coast, a few other shows which eventually got cancelled because of everything that happened. But then we did a radio show in I think it was 2017. So me and Sarah we were on Revolution Radio for about a year.
Right.
So that was basically my idea to go on there, and Sarah did probably about half the shows. And I did every show basically for that year. And then we did a conference together in 2017 in the UK, which I arranged with Sarah, and she flew over and spoke at that along with some other speakers here in the UK. So that was what was going on back in, I guess, 2016, 2017. I mean, back then she was living in the US, although she did fly over here a few times. So I was just, if anybody contacted Sarah, I also created what is her current website in 2017. So I created that website from scratch in 2017, and I started managing her bookings. Anyone who contacted the website wanted her on a show interview, they wanted her to speak at a conference or an event, then I dealt with all that kind of thing back then.
Okay. Now, the first question I wanted to ask, and I appreciate that, obviously it shows that, that you're willing to be open about these things. You mentioned, because I remember listening to your interview with Steven, and, it was clearly communicated, I think, that when you started helping her, book these interviews, these like internet radio or other interviews for her, prior to Max dying, that some of your motivation was that, I believe you articulated it as, that you thought her message needed to get out and more people needed to hear her.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I first heard of Sarah probably in 2014. I want to say.
Okay.
Through the Basis Project, I started watching all of her stuff, Max's stuff, James Caswell, and a few others. And then I went to see her at her first talk, which was in early 2015, where her and Max spoke for the first time in public. And yeah, I was at that event, and then a few others after. And then I sort of connected with Sarah probably late 2015, early 2016. And, you know, it was basically just sort of messaging through Facebook. We weren't really that close at that time. And then we talked a few times, and she did some radio shows. I can't remember which like specific channel she was on, but
right.
I got her on, I think it was Christine Hart's channel, even Terry Joyce as well. I asked Terry for her to come back on her show. And then a few others, League Projects, I think she was going to go on, and a few others, but those obviously they were cancelled after Max died.
Right. Now, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's it, I think.
Okay. Now, going back to Max's passing, you mentioned these interviews being canceled. Were they canceled by the radio stations themselves because they thought that there was some problem with what had happened to Max? Or was it that Sarah felt that she had to cancel because of the trauma of his passing away?
Sarah cancelled them. She didn't want to. She basically, for the rest of that year, she didn't do any interviews with anybody. I think she did a few live streams on my channel, but she didn't really want to talk about the whole, you know, Max Spears thing, because she knew that question was going to come up, and she wasn't really ready to discuss that. She was still, I guess you could say, in mourning for his death and everything.
Right. And you had also mentioned that, you know, when you first became aware of Sarah's work, you know, you mentioned, you know, kind of there was that series of videos that came out of, I think it was in Las Vegas. They had the famous Super Soldier Conference where James Casbolt was, James Rink, Max Spears. I think Douglas Dietrich may have been there. There were a whole bunch of people that were there. And that's when we first started seeing videos from Sarah.
That's right, yeah.
So can you take us back? Because I don't want it to just be about Sarah. I also want to get a feel for, you know, your journey, because obviously, you know, I don't think you're acting as her business manager. I don't get the impression that you took the job of working as her business manager for the same reasons or rationale that you might interview or decide to take any sort of regular 9-to-5, you know, IT or middle management position. That there seems to be this drive of working on an important project. Does that resonate with you? It's true. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I should, I guess, sort of explain as to how I sort of fell into this whole arena, as it were. So about, I guess, 8-9 years ago, I got divorced. I quit my job, and this was probably about 2013, 2014. And I had a lot of time on my hands. I started watching a lot of, as you do, sort of like YouTube videos about a lot of conspiracy stuff, like 9/11, Sandy Hook,
right?
Over there in the UK, stuff like Madeleine McCann. I don't know if you know about that case.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it started sort of, I don't know, triggering me to start asking questions about a lot of things, and I sort of fell into the rabbit hole, you guess you could say. And then I started watching a lot of stuff about the Basis Project, Project Camelot, Coast to Coast, obviously, and, you know, a lot of like conspiracy things. And then I somehow became the admin for the Basis Project Facebook group, and because I was posting a lot of stuff on there pretty much every single day, and the admin of the group, you know, was following a lot of my research, a lot of the work I was doing, and he asked if I wanted to become the admin for the group. So I became the admin for the Basis Project Facebook group probably in around 2015 sometime. And then I was the admin for about a year until after Max passed away, when I was kicked out of the group for a lot of issues. I mean, I don't have a specific issue with Miles Johnston, but there was a lot of stuff happening which I think that he could have handled things better. And specifically like after Max died, no one really supported or cared about what Sarah was going through. And I can understand that Miles was, supporting the family and Vanessa and everything, but Sarah sort of got, forgotten about. Nobody really cared or wanted to know if Sarah was okay or what she was going through or anything like that. And we had a bit of an argument about a lot of the stuff that was being posted in the group about Sarah. And so I left the Basis Project in late 2016 because of that. And again, I've seen Miles a few times since then at conferences and events, and I'm okay with him, but I just think he could have handled the situation after Max died a little bit better, that's all. And so we sort of parted ways in 2016. I've been basically working in IT for, I guess, about 25 years on and off. Okay. And back then I was sort of helping Sarah part-time as I still had a day job. But I only became Sarah's full-time manager in January when I quit my day job. And so since January this year, I've been her full-time business manager. So all my focus has been on the work that I do with Sarah this year, basically. Before it was all sort of part-time. I was doing evenings, weekends, or whenever I had time to do that kind of thing. But this year's really, Sarah's been really busy with conferences and events, and wants to push things forward a bit more. She's been put in charge of the UFO MegaCon event next year, so she's going to be working on that.
Wait, Taj, can I interrupt for a second? Yeah. You're going to be responsible for that, won't you? Let's be honest. This is like she doesn't answer her own emails. When you were doing the interview with Steven, it was mentioned that she called you to see if you could find a guitar on Amazon. So she's not even doing her own Amazon orders. She's the UFO MegaCon.
She is working on it at the moment. I am involved in it, yes, but she's the one who's she's choosing the speakers for next year's event.
Okay.
So that's down to her, really.
Tell her I'm available. Tell her I'm available if she wants to keep people on their toes.
Okay, I'll mention it to her.
Yeah, do. No, I just want to mention it to her, but make sure you have your camera ready because I think that's going to be an image that's worthy of saving for posterity.
Okay, no problem.
But you I bet you anticipate having to do a fair amount of the logistics on UFO MegaCon.
I don't know how much I'm going to do. It's still in the early stages at the moment.
Okay. I'm half teasing you. I'm half teasing you.
Yeah. I forgot what I was talking about now. Where was I?
Well, actually, it might have been an instinctual thing for me to interrupt you because you're giving us a lot of data and info, but as you're speaking, I'm writing down a whole bunch of stuff. Number one, okay. Let me ask you about this. Obviously there's a pretty rapid trajectory. You're sitting around, you're divorced, you're unemployed, and you start watching all of these conspiracy channels, Project Camelot, Basis Project, Coast to Coast AM, etc. Basically, as you said it yourself, going down this rabbit hole. And then in a short amount of time, you're the admin for the Basis Project Facebook group. And prior to this YouTube deep dive, had you been exposed to the conspiracy theory world or scene on the internet before?
Obviously, I've seen things, like stuff like the JFK, conspiracy and some other bits. So I wasn't really involved or researched it or looked into it. It was just, something that, you might watch the movie or whatever. But no, I wasn't really involved in it. It all happened, like you said, it did happen very quickly.
Very quickly.
Like within a matter of a couple of years. So I was, thrown in that deep end almost, yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you have any friends or family that you speak to regularly that is like outside of this community?
Yes, all my friends and family are outside of this community, yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, has anyone given you any feedback as to, Taj, you got divorced, you were unemployed for a while, and then all of a sudden, you're telling us that you're doing all these things. You're working with a psychic healer, you're her business manager, you're following these super soldiers, you're asking us questions, probing questions about what happened during 9/11 or at Sandy Hook. Has anyone said to you like, hey, this is all happening pretty quick?
Back then, I don't actually remember. I know my family are a bit on the fence about a lot of this stuff. I mean, obviously they've met Sarah a few times. Yeah, I don't know. Most of my friends do sort of make fun of me about a lot of this stuff, but
right.
I sort of take it, however. But it's probably over the last few years has taken more and more of my life, I guess.
Right.
More and more of my time. And I guess I sort of see myself doing this for some time now. So
right.
It is something that sort of fascinates me, not just working with Sarah, but the whole, I have my own interest in this conspiracy field. Sarah, not so much. She's sort of distanced herself away from conspiracy stuff now. And she wants to focus more on, the spiritual work and the healing. And I am more interested in, the secret space program and time travel and stuff like that. All the good stuff,
Yeah. So that stuff is still an interest of yours. Is there, in your time, looking at that stuff and working with that stuff, are there things that you feel that secrets that you feel that you have answered or uncovered, or you still, just on a quest? And what is your feeling? And if you can give us any sort of feedback as to what is it that is it just curiosity or interest in the human condition, or what might be, or do you have any sort of personal attraction or drive, or calling, like even maybe an obsession for any particular idea or concept?
I think I've always been interested in sort of science fiction, so the whole secret space program thing was a bit, I've obviously, looked at people like Corey Good, David Wilcock, and Randy Kramer, and all the other sort of,
right.
Secret space program whistleblowers, I guess you would call them. And it is a interesting topic. Whether I believe everything they say is another question. I have my own probably a whole barrage of questions about the secret space program, how it could be kept secret for so long, and the whole sort of conspiracy with NASA, and even the moon landings and all this kind of thing, and
right.
The fact that they've had these anti-grav craft probably since the 50s, and nobody's talked about it, and NASA is still using basic rocket technology to, and saying they can't even get back to the moon because they've destroyed all the records and all the technology and all this kind of thing, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
But I've been fascinated with the secret space program. My take on it is that there probably is a secret space program. It does sort of make sense. Whether I believe all the whistleblowers, I think some of them may be disinformation, and I don't necessarily believe everything that I read.
Right.
I sort of make my own mind up about what I think makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And I sort of pick and choose, I guess, what I want to take away from it.
Can you tell us about? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just curious. Like, can you tell us, can you give us any insight into your process? Like, how do you? Because so much of this information comes to us unsupported by any sort of evidence. Randy Kramer comes out with amazing stories. Corey Good obviously has stories. We have all sorts of people telling all sorts of different stories. For you, can you give us any insight how you figure out, what might be shit, what might be shinola?
For me, it's more sort of what resonates with me. Sort of like I have, how would I put it? I don't have necessarily psychic abilities, but like a sixth sense, I guess you could say, like we all do. And if someone's talking to me, I can usually tell when someone's lying to me. And a lot of these interviews, I do listen to them, and some of them, even the person, if they believe what they're saying is true,
right,
and it may not necessarily be. And I think a lot of these people may have been, how I say, like MK Ultra, kind of thing, is the only way I can put it, mind control, told to say these things. You could say like the CIA put these people out there, like Corey Good or whoever, to spread disinformation, but there may be bits of fact in there mixed in with the disinformation. So that's the problem that people find, is that what's true, this bit sounds true, I can confirm this is true, but the rest of it's all bullshit or whatever. It can't be confirmed. It's just whether you want to believe it or not, it's up to you. But that's how disinformation works. So for me, it's more about what resonates with me. I can take that away, and the rest I leave behind. I don't know how you sort of process that kind of information.
Yeah. Well,
but for me, that's how it works.
Right, but look, number one, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't want to bullshit you. I think that's a terrible way to figure out, whether it resonates with you is true, because, listen. I've been tricked or suckered, by a million different, skirts and business opportunities. People lie. People can do things. A lot of liars are really convincing, especially if there might be part of us that wants to believe. But what's funny to me sometimes, Taj, is that it seems like people, when I ask people that are, of the camp of people who are interested in the secret space program or super soldiers, and they kind of believe some of it might be true. When I speak to them about whether or not someone is either lying or not lying, it seems like they process it only along two tracks. The first track is they're telling us correct information, and the second track is they're a disinformation agent. How about this? That there are people in the world that just lie.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, of course there is.
Right.
There's always going to be people who just lie, but it is a difficult one. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm correct on everything.
Right.
Even with everything that I've researched and looked into, I could be wrong as well. I'll be the first to admit I might be wrong about a lot of things. But for me, it's really, I guess you could say, a lot of sort of a learning journey for me. I'm still, for me, this is I'm quite new to all this. There's people who've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years, and I'm not saying that they know more better than I do, but, they probably know a lot more than I do, because I've only been doing this since probably 2013, 14, so
yeah.
I'm still like, quite early in my journey, I guess you could say.
Right. When you were doing these Revolution radio shows that you said about half of them Sarah did, the other ones, were those you doing the show?
Yeah, we had two. I have two co-hosts. There was Sarah and another girl called Nissa. Nissa's also a friend of ours who did the shows. She was more into sort of like the conspiracy stuff like me, I guess.
Okay.
So she did the shows that she was interested in. Sarah did the ones that, depending on the guest,
Okay.
So I don't know if you've seen any of those shows, but they're on the YouTube channel anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, I interviewed everyone from like Robert Maxwell and Benjamin Fulford and John Lear and Mary Rodwell. I can't remember off the top of my head all.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah.
The kind of people. These are all, and Andrew Bashago, and all kinds of people like that.
Right.
It was basically people that I had been watching in the previous years, and I wanted to, speak to them one-to-one and ask them questions that I had, about things like time travel, space program, and
right.
All this kind of thing. So I had the opportunity to, to interview them. So obviously, I jumped at that.
And was that was a positive experience? Did you get a lot out of that?
I did. Yeah, it was a lot of hard work, though. I mean, I think people don't understand when you do a radio show. It's not just you're on there for like a couple of hours every week. There's a lot of research you have to do about the guests.
Right.
You have to know what you're talking about. I know some radio show hosts probably just jump into it and just ask whatever they want. But I like to do my research about the guests, find out what they're about, watch their stuff, and then I come up with questions which nobody else has asked, or that I want to, ask specifically, that I want to know that nobody else has asked. So for me, it was a lot of work. For a guest to come on, I would probably do a couple of weeks of research just for that one guest. Watch all of it. But the thing is, a lot of these guests that came on, I already knew them.
Right.
I already watched all their stuff. I'd already interested. That's why I wanted them on my show, because I already knew who they were. I already researched their stuff. So a lot of it was quite easy for me, because again, that was quite early in my sort of learning process. That was like 2017. So I was still like wanting to learn as much as possible from all these people. And these people are supposed to be like the leaders in their field. So obviously, I want to ask them, questions, and I want to learn from them. My favorite guest was, you probably wouldn't want to hear this, but Benjamin Fulford.
Oh God, yeah, no, you need. I love you, Tosh. You need to get your head examined. That guy's so full of it. It's not even funny. God bless you. God bless you.
Three or four times, but he's a fascinating person to interview.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that was an interesting time for me doing the whole radio show thing. And I did want to continue that, but I sort of, we had some disagreements with Revolution Radio, which, sort of ended that show, really.
Well, do you mind me asking, what were the disagreements between you and Revolution Radio, or was it something to do with Sarah?
Well, specifically the owner of Revolution Radio didn't like Sarah, basically.
Right.
And I think, and a few he just didn't like Sarah, basically, and I had a few arguments with him.
About Sarah, or just other things?
Just like, I don't know, weird things would happen on the radio show. It wasn't very good. Like, the feed would cut, and people wouldn't be able to hear me. The whole network would go down. Sometimes it wasn't very organized. And if I wanted to do a show with someone, like John Lear, and the show would just cut out halfway through, it doesn't look good on me.
Right.
And the whole thing was just not very well organized. And I mean, I got offered another show on American Freedom Radio, which I said I was going to do, but I changed my mind about it. And I mean, it just wasn't working. That's all it was, really.
Right. Do you have any? Because obviously, so now here's another question, and because you're giving me information in real time, I'm taking notes, and I had notes before, so if I jump around a lot, I apologize. Do you have? Obviously, you talked. It seems like your primary interest is almost in the kind of what we call the conspiracy thing, but a lot of people call the nuts and bolts. We want to know the facts. Where's this program? Not so much the new age spirituality stuff, but more of the, what are the secrets that the government is hiding? Where's the evidence? Where's, the mechanics of what's happening in the world? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so I know you've got your own YouTube channel. You mentioned this work with doing work on radio. Do you have any plans yourself to, independent of your work with Sarah, to continue that work of doing interviews or doing research in that realm of secret space programs or super soldiers?
Possibly at some point. Right now, I just don't have the time. Sarah does take up a lot of my time, managing Sarah, managing everything that's going on with the business kind of thing.
Right.
So it would take time away from that if I wanted to do my own podcast or whatever. So at the moment, no. Maybe in the future, I would like to do it. I just don't know if anybody would be interested in listening to my opinion on a lot of this stuff.
Listen, I gotta tell you something. If they're willing to listen to Benjamin Fulford and Drake Bailey and some of these other jackasses, if they're willing to listen to me, they'd be probably willing to listen to you. You know what I mean? You're an articulate, educated guy. I'm sure you get some audience, right? And believe you me, But what's interesting to me is that your interest is more in this other thing, but it seems like there was a problem with the Basis Project community because of Sarah, and then you left this radio program because the guy had a problem with Sarah, And so there's a lot of loyalty here. There's a lot of stuff that your energy that you're putting into this Sarah Adams project.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've known Sarah for a while now, and initially we sort of became friends, and it sort of progressed from there. I became her assistant, and then her business manager, and more and more of my time and focus has gone into that.
Right.
Basically because we're close friends, and I work with her.
Sure.
I speak to Sarah every day.
Right.
I speak to Sarah every day, so it does take up, most of my time. And of course, I want to see her do well. I want to see her, succeed. And people don't really, most people don't really get Sarah. They don't really understand like her work, and especially what she's been through these 5 years. It's been since Max Spears died. I don't think they really get it. Whereas I've been there through the whole thing, and I've seen what she's been through. I've seen the attacks and the criticism, and all the name calling and everything else, and all that kind of thing that's been going on. And for me, it's more about wanting to work with her, wanting to see her. For me, it's been like a journey with her almost. To see her, like, basically after Max died, she hit rock bottom. She wasn't eating, she wasn't sleeping, she wasn't looking after herself. She was pretty basically ready to die.
Weren't they broken? I'm not trying to be a rumor monger, but wasn't part of the controversy the fact that they had broken up?
They had broken up, yeah, but sort of, I guess, in the weeks before he died. I mean, I've seen the messages where they were still communicating by message. They were talking. In fact, Sarah was probably one of the last people to message Max before he died. I've seen, all the messages on her phone. And she contacted him probably on the morning before he died. And then it was just like nothing, no other, it was almost, no other messages from him after that. So they were communicating, they weren't together, but they were talking about, obviously, the conference that was coming up at the Basis conference, where they were both going to be speaking together.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, looking forward to, obviously, seeing each other again. And I think Sarah just wanted to take it slowly at that time.
Right.
And they were separated, obviously. They were looking at getting back together. So that was the situation then, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, so now let me ask you this, because Max Spears has come up in the conversation, and I know that there was a recent radio show, like YouTube program that I saw you on, where you were discussing Max Spears' passing, or the circumstances, and some of your theories and ideas about what may or may not have happened. Do you know what? Yeah,
I think you're talking about the one I did with Sandra DeRoy.
Yeah, I think so.
Sean Atwood show.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Sean Atwood show, exactly.
So yeah, again. What can I say about Sandra DeRoy? I don't want to say anything bad here, but Sandra and I have been friends for a long time as well. We're no longer. It's been sort of back and forth for a while. Sandra approached me earlier this year to help her do some videos about the whole Max Spears thing.
Right.
Because she, just before Max died, I believe, she had a conversation with Miles where she was told to stay away from it, or to stay away from Max, and that, I can't remember the specific exact words, but it was something like, he's being taken care of, or something like that. And she did tell me that back in 2016. I think she even told Vanessa about it, that she thinks that Miles knew what was going to happen to Max. And earlier this year, she contacted me. She said she's going to be going on the Sean Atwood show to talk about it. She wanted me to come on with her, because I was involved in a lot of the conversations before Max died. Conversations, obviously with Max, with Sarah, with Miles, as I was helping Miles put together the whole conference in 2016, and Miles wasn't really talking to Sarah, so I was like the middleman there. And I was communicating with Max to make sure, he knew what he was going to be talking about. Sarah knew what she was going to be talking about. How it was all going to come together and all that kind of thing.
Right.
And all the other speakers as well who was going to be speaking at the event. So Sandra asked me to come on the show. I can't really remember what we talked about really, but
right.
It was basically, yes, she was talking about the whole Max Spears thing. There's more to it. And I mean, over the years, I've done my own research into specifically Madeline, which was the lady that he was staying with when he died. And we were going to talk about a lot of that stuff. But Sandra and I sort of had, disagreement again after that interview, and we sort of parted ways. I don't really know what Sandra's doing at the moment with that. So if she's come back on Sean Atwood's show, I don't really know.
Right.
I wasn't really involved after that.
Okay. Well, look, let me ask you this. I want to step through the Max Spears concept and a couple of questions that I've developed that I want to ask you about. Not necessarily about the who, what, where, when, of how of the end. We'll get there. But, when you first got into the scene, obviously you were following a lot of what would be considered like maybe the first generation of Miles Johnson's Basis Project super soldiers, right? Like James Casbolt, Max Spears, Sarah Adams, and then you had a couple of different people. But obviously there was some attraction that you had to the work of Max Spears. And let me ask you this: if I look at Sarah Adams' website, right, I'll never get any sort of impression that I'm being told or am being introduced to this very heavy concept of what Max and Sarah and James were originally talking about back in the day, right? And so let me I wrote it down. Hold on. Let me just get to the questions as I wrote it down to see if it's articulated well. Okay. So you recently talked about the death of Max Spears. Here's the first question: what do you think is the responsibility of people who knew about him and knew him and his work to keep his memory and testimony alive?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask it one at a time. Do you think that there is true value and information that was brought forth in the testimony of Max Spears that is important, even say, to the world?
I think you did talk about a lot of things which other people didn't talk about. I would say there was a lot of how do I put it? There was a lot of information that he put out, which a lot of people connected with,
Right.
And I think that was because of a lot of the things that he had been through his life, a lot of the trauma and, the addiction issues. People who had been through the same thing made a connection with him in that way. And that's why his message seemed to just come across a lot better to people, because they knew what he had been through, and so they connected more with his message. That's the only way I can put it, I think.
Okay, no, I feel like I hear you loud and clear. So would it be fair to say that you think that he had value as a human being, and he may have had value? No, absolutely.
I mean, we all have value as a human being. I wouldn't say that anybody doesn't have any value.
Right.
But again, he was still very early. I mean, he'd done a lot of videos, but I think he didn't like being called a super soldier. He never called himself a super soldier, and he never wanted to be known as a super soldier. And I think a lot of people have labelled him that.
Right.
I don't think he would have wanted to have been known, like after he died, that he wouldn't have wanted to be known as the super soldier kind of, person. I think there was more to him than that, and I think his message. I think his message was more about healing and how we can all be better people at the end of the day. But I think a lot of that got lost, in everything that happened after he died.
Right.
I think a lot of the everything that happened in the media and mainstream media blew it out of proportion.
Right.
And the message just got lost.
Do you think he died of just a drug overdose?
That's what the coroner concluded.
Right.
It wasn't. It was he actually died of pneumonia, from what I understand. But from what I remember of the coroner's report, he died of pneumonia, which was brought on by an overdose of Xanax and oxycodone, I think, which saturated everything. And that was basically it.
Yeah. No. So like Taj, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the reins a little bit because just because I want to make sure that we cover all our bases. So let me ask you this question. You said that Max wouldn't want to be known as a super soldier. How do you think Max would have wanted to be remembered? And can you give us any feedback as to what you think the most valuable aspects of his testimony or just his life were, or what the role that he performed in the community?
I think, well, for me, it's hard to say that because I wasn't as close to Max as a lot of other people.
Okay.
I only met him once. I spoke to him a few times. I haven't watched his stuff, in years, to be honest. But I mean, like I said earlier, I think he would have been wanted to have known for the work that he did, for the message that he tried to get across to people, which was basically about being good to one another, being, just, I guess, good human beings in a way. But he was also trying to get a message across about everything a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world. The government stuff, the military stuff, all this stuff that's happening. But I think if he'd still be alive today, he'd still be talking about a lot of the same things. But I think with everything that's going on in the world right now, I think that, it would be difficult for me to say what his message would be.
Okay.
Right now, because I didn't know him that well.
Okay.
I wouldn't pretend to say that I knew him well enough to say, this is what Max wanted to be, known for.
Okay. So, but obviously that you had obviously had a personal attraction to not necessarily the message of just him, or message may not be the wrong word. I mean, did you think that there was valid intel and information in what he was saying about the government or conspiracies or operations behind the scene?
I think there was valuable information there. I can't think of any specifics right now because I haven't watched his stuff.
Right. No, I understand.
But I believe he named certain people, or he was going to name certain people who were involved in a lot of the paedophilia stuff, and the whole thing with Michael Aquino. I don't really know specifics about that, but I know that just before he died, he said he was being attacked by Aquino.
Yeah, everyone blames Aquino.
Aquino's thing and all that. But everyone thinks, obviously Aquino's dead now. Well,
right.
Apparently he's dead.
Miles Johnson interviewed him in a very kind and cordial way, right?
Well, there's actually, I don't know many people know about this, but I'm the one who approached Aquino for an interview.
Okay.
And I actually decided not to do it again because this was when I was doing my radio show in 2017.
Okay.
And I wanted him on the radio show, and I spoke to Sarah about it. And Sarah said, no, it's not a good idea to have that guy on the radio show. He's bad news.
Uh-huh.
And then I gave the interview to Christine Hart, and then she passed on it,
right.
gave it to Myron.
Well, Christine Hart was claiming that he was attacking her too.
Yeah, well, again, that's something you have to speak to Christine about. I mean, I've spoken to her about it.
Yeah, I spoke to her about it too.
So obviously, Miles jumped at the chance to have an interview.
Right.
Whereas everyone else, didn't want anything to do with it. But yeah, I mean, again, I've read a lot of stuff about Michael Aquino. Watched some of his interviews. He's a very strange character.
Well, sure.
The head, obviously, the Church of Satan is something I don't really want to look too much into.
They throw a great cocktail party. I'm telling you. Yeah.
What was that?
They said they throw a great cocktail party.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But that's all a very weird. The whole sort of satanic occult kind of thing. I've sort of delved into, but doesn't really appeal to me.
Okay.
It's just I get a very bad vibe off of people like that.
Yeah. I don't blame you. So so look, I mean, I'm looking at my questions here. Let me ask you. Miles Johnson has come up, and when Max Spears died, Miles Johnson did an interview or did a conversation with Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, and I covered that discussion in depth, and it became a conversation piece for a couple of weeks on my channel. Those videos are amongst the videos that have been set to private on my channel for various reasons. But Miles had said something. He said explicitly, he said things about coaching and telling people like Max and Sarah what to say. He literally specifically said that he had told Max when Max was telling him what Max wanted to talk about in what was, I guess, to be the latest bases convention or conference that he was going to speak at, that Miles Johnson literally rebuked him and said, "We need new information. You need to tell me something new." So let me ask you a question, Taj, if you're willing to talk about it. The accusation that I'm raising is that Miles Johnson is telling people what to say, or influencing them, or putting them under some sort of duress to get the content that he's looking for.
I think, from my understanding of that conversation that he had with Max, he didn't want the same old stuff, because obviously they had done a whole series of videos on the basis already about a lot of things, and he wanted new information, and not just new information, but stuff that could be backed up, because Miles wanted this conference to be, I don't know how to put it, like a scientific sort of, backed with facts kind of thing. He didn't want it like a woo-woo, you know what I mean? Like a kind of conference.
Right. Well, I think Miles Johnson is in the wrong line of work if he doesn't have a woo-woo type of conference. Because, I mean, does anyone who appears at these projects, does anyone who appears at these conferences have any, really, I mean, what would constitute evidence?
Yeah, I know, exactly. So I think that's probably, I mean.
And how do you, like, imagine this. Imagine if you have a Vietnam vet that you're going to interview, and imagine it's the 25th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, and someone's going to interview the Vietnam vet, and they say to him, "Now listen, we don't want you to tell us the same old stuff about the Vietnam War and your real-time experience with these underground projects. We need something new." I mean, does that make sense? Right.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But I think they had already done like quite a lot of videos about everything, about a lot of things, and he wanted new material basically.
No, we're saying the same thing, but it feels like it's hitting me at a different level. Like, does that? I mean, Taj, isn't there a problem with asking someone who's reporting on things that they are saying are facts about their life that you need them to say something new? I mean, it's not like look, there are these guys in the music industry called A&R. They're called artists and representation, and they're the guys that does the dirty job. When the band that's recorded 5 albums in a row in the 1970s, there's the guy who's called the A&R guy who has to tap them on the shoulder and say, "Here we are in 1979, guys. We need to do a disco record, right?" You know what I mean? Like, so what is? It seems odd for someone to tell someone who's supposedly testifying to real experiences that they had. Because isn't he telling him to make shit up?
I don't know about making shit up, but that conference was basically one big headache for me anyway.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But basically, a lot of people who were going to be speaking at that conference pulled out, basically because of Miles. I mean, Stuart Swerdlow was supposed to be speaking at that conference, and he pulled out. And a few others who were supposed to be speaking all pulled out because of disagreements with Miles.
Right.
So it's nothing new with Miles, though.
No, I know.
I mean, he wants to do things his way, and if you don't agree with that, then you can go. Where you can go.
Right. Well, let me ask. Concerning the allegations that are currently pending against Miles Johnson, I think it was an apt choice of words to say that he may be the kind of guy that wants things his way.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. I said it, not you. So I won't ask you to jump on that landmine.
Okay.
But look, I mean, no one would have known about this stuff except for him going to Facebook and telling people, buy me new computer equipment because I just got accused of that sort of assault. Taj, let me. I'm not going to get rough, but I want to be, press some issues. You're now the full-time manager of Sarah Adams. Okay, so let me ask you a very straight question. If you are the full-time business manager for Sarah and you're helping promote her work, you're helping to book her sessions, you've worked on the website, you guys are working with a marketing team. If you're helping in that capacity to spread this word and promoting this word, do you feel that you have any moral or ethical obligations to the community to make sure that Sarah's work is on the level and that her powers and abilities are legitimate? Because she makes some very big claims about what she's able to do.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, Sarah's been working with me for probably 4 or 5 years. She's probably done thousands of sessions in that time, and you can see a lot of the testimonials on the website. And in all that time, I would say we've only had problems with maybe like a handful of people who weren't happy. And out of thousands of clients, I think, you could say that her work speaks for herself.
Okay.
I mean, we've got people who've been working with her for a year or 2 years, and they're coming back and still, continuing to work with her. So if she wasn't able to do what she says she can do, then why would people continue to work with her?
Well, listen, Taj, why do people give thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to Scientology? I mean, just because people are willing to pay for it doesn't necessarily mean that there's not a bad dynamic happening, or that they might be attributing to Sarah stuff that isn't necessarily her doing. And I don't mean to be accusatory, but the way that I articulated the question is, do you think that you have a moral and ethical responsibility to, she's very involved in some very sensitive issues, that the very sensitive things that she's claiming. I mean, are you saying to me that yes, that you acknowledge that you do have a moral and ethical requirement to kind of make sure that things are on the level, but that you're saying that, but that question has been answered for you?
For me, from everything that I've seen from Sarah's work, I believe that everything that she does is above board.
Okay.
And I mean, she has helped a lot of people. She's been working with me for a number of years, and I've seen a lot of people helped by her, healed by her, and people who have had emotional problems, who've had physical problems, who've had health problems, and all these people have got better having worked with Sarah. And so as far as moral compass, I feel good about the work that Sarah is doing. And I'm not going to say that Sarah's perfect and everything that she's said and done, is perfect, and a lot of the claims, I don't want to get into specific claims that she's made online or whatever, But Sarah is not a normal human being in a lot of sense. She has abilities. I've seen her do things which I can't explain, and
let me ask you something straight. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me just, because what is the craziest shit that you've seen her do?
Craziest shit.
Yeah, like the thing that you're like, holy fucking crap. Like, because strange shit happens to me all the time. Like, we'll be here in the live chat and like I'll mention a movie, and then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, the movie's being, re-released, or someone else comes into the live chat randomly and says, oh, by the way, I haven't seen you guys in a while. I was stuck up in Saskatoon with my family. We only had one VHS tape of a movie, and it was The Hunger with David Bowie and Bauhaus. We're like, oh, we were just talking about that, like wackadoo shit, like, or like I'll meet someone who, like, I'm attracted to, say, as a mentor, and then all of a sudden it turns out, that they've got, the exact same musical interests as I do, or like weird things happen all the time, like, oh my god, what a synchronicity. But if we're talking about the shit that's on Sarah's website, and if you're telling me, the stuff that she's saying, and that she's not a normal person, that you've seen things, what's the craziest thing that she's like done, or that you've seen?
Probably in late 2016, after Max died, I went to visit her in Kent.
Okay.
And we were like walking around town, and I was talking to her specifically about, why do you think I'm here, and am I here to help you? Am I here to do this or that or whatever? And we were talking, and she said, well, you should get, if you get a sign or something, then maybe you should listen to it. And then like a few minutes later, we were walking away that we've never walked before, and I walked past the car, and it had Taj written on the number plate. And it was a bit of a weird, because in the UK, the number plates are generated in a way where it's very rare to see my name on a number plate. So unless someone specifically bought that number plate and had Taj, and it was literally maybe 50 yards from where Sarah and I were staying, that car, and yet I'd never seen that car before, and yet I took it as, I don't know, a sign or something, that maybe a confirmation of what we've been talking about.
Right. So
it sort of freaked me out like a few days, and especially as we'd never walked down that particular part of town before, and I'd never seen that car, and the number plate, was quite clearly right in front of me.
So right, and it confirmed.
But there are other things. There are a couple of other things where, last year I was in Egypt with Sarah.
Right.
We went to the Valley of the Kings.
Right.
And we were in one of the tombs there, and she sort of, the only way I could say is she switched like altars or something, and she started talking very weird, strange language or something, and it lasted maybe 5 minutes, and then she didn't know where she was or what was happening, and then we had to leave, because people were like staring, and sort of like, it was a bit strange really. I've never experienced it. I've seen her like go switch altars before, but in that particular setting, like we were in a tomb surrounded by a lot of other people, and it was a bit of a weird experience. And we got back in the car, and she was still like that for a few minutes, and that's happened a few times.
Right. So, but look, listen, my brother, but we have faith healers. If you go and look at traditional Tibetan Buddhist shamans, they do are you aware of this happens in Christian churches here? I don't know if it happens with you guys in England, but there's a thing called being slain in the spirit, where people are in church and it's called catching the Holy Ghost, and they shake and they do the whole thing, and their language for it is, being slain in the spirit or being touched by God. And someone else who's into this conspiracy community can say, that it's, switching alters or whatever. But let me ask you a question, because I think you told us like a real truth there that I want to hone in on. Not because I want to be a douche or a jerk, but I think that truths come out for a reason. Taj, isn't it the case that you being her business manager is just kind of a role that you're playing in this lifetime, but that it's your belief that you and Sarah have been involved in some sort of work, maybe lifetime after lifetime, and your journey to come to her and be around her now has something to do with like a mission on Earth?
Yeah, I mean, Sarah has told me that she remembers me from past lifetimes. I don't have that memory.
Right.
I'm not sort of in that way inclined, I guess, as Sarah is.
Wow. Okay, but what about your name on a friggin' license plate? Isn't that proof that you guys are? You know what I mean?
It is like, I mean, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but when I first came across Sarah's videos, I recognized her, but it wasn't her face that I recognized, it was her voice. And for ages, it bugged me, and I was like trying to figure out where I had heard her voice before. And it's almost like, they talk about like sound and frequency and that kind of thing. And, whether, you become, reincarnated or whatever, you still carry that frequency in you in a way. And I sort of, in a way, connected to Sarah in that sense, as far as her voice was concerned. For months, it took, I was like trying to work out if I'd met her before,
right,
if I'd seen her somewhere before, and I couldn't figure out. There's no way I could have known her because she was living in America and in France, and the chances of me even meeting her were pretty remote. So the only way I can put it is that yes, we have met in previous lifetimes, and that somehow that stayed with me. And when I hear her voice, that through her videos, that I had some kind of connection there. That's the only way I can explain it. Because
right, but
if you told me 5 years ago where I would be now doing what I'm doing, I would tell you, I would probably have laughed at you and said, you must be joking, And yet within a year of me first, 18, within a year to 18 months of me first seeing Sarah up on stage, I was working with her and doing a radio show and a conference and all this kind of thing. And if you had told me back then that was going to happen, I would have said you were completely mad.
Yeah, but I could have told you that women are trouble.
Huh?
Women are trouble. And pretty women are real trouble. Pretty women are real trouble. You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Because if you tell me, oh man, you'll never believe it. A year from meeting this new hotsy totsy, model beautiful gal, you'll be amazed. You'll be working as her personal manager, and you'll put your career on hold and all this shit. I'd be like, yeah, I could see that fucking happening. Right? That's some shit that can happen to a dude. Whether you're in England or America, that's some shit that can happen to a dude, right?
Yeah.
But let me because it's just in the last like little conversation we're joking around, and human beings are human beings, and I don't have problems with people's spiritual beliefs. My real issue is when it goes into them talking about politics, or them saying things that I think can be demonstrably shown to not be true. But I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it sounded like you gave me two contradictory pieces of information. It sounded as though at one point you were basically telling a story where you were kind of with Sarah working on trying to figure out, what your role was, or whether, that it was like destined or somehow for you to be there or working with her. And then you see this license plate. And then I ask you specifically about if you think that you're on a spiritual mission or there's something about it. And you said you're not that way inclined. But then it sounds like now you're going back and saying that you acknowledge the fact that, you connected with her voice, and that there's, that you can read the tea leaves of everything that has happened, and that things are kind of, that you're meant to be here.
Well, the whole voice thing was like, before the number plate thing happened, probably like a couple of years before that. And I'd forgotten about it, to be honest. And when the number plate thing happened, I don't know, it weirded me out for a while. And I mean, even like, I mean, a few years ago, I did ayahuasca with Sarah in Mexico, and that was a really, really weird experience. The whole thing was, I mean, we went to Mexico to stay with some friends for a few days, and Sarah wanted to do ayahuasca. I didn't really take it too seriously. I thought it, I'll do it as a bit of a joke or whatever. I should have taken it a bit more seriously, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was a very spiritual experience.
Okay.
I basically thought I had died. I thought I had actually died. And, it was basically, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 people in this room. We all took the ayahuasca. Initially, it was like a bit of a trippy sort of experience, sort of quite nice. And then it became really, really intense. And, I saw beings, shadow beings, or, whatever around the room. The guy next to me was having a really bad experience. I could hear him, like, almost like demonic sort of sounds coming out of him. Sarah was like completely normal. It hardly affected her. She was walking around helping the shaman with other people who were having bad experiences.
Right.
And I thought I had literally died. And it wasn't until I woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and realized the last 7, 8 hours was, none of it was real. But for me, it felt more real than, me talking to you here right now.
Yeah, no, I get,
in my living room.
Yeah, you're talking to a guy that's taken a lot of acid. I've taken acid, DMT, you know what I mean, magic mushrooms, some of them at the ecstasy, some of them at the same friggin' time. Believe you me, baby, it's if you do psychedelics, you're gonna have a wild, crazy experience.
Since then, this might sound a bit creepy, but since then, I think about death a lot because I thought I had died.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, listen, brother, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Yeah,
it makes you think about your own mortality and the whole experience of life and everything.
Yeah.
And it makes you question a lot of things. And so for me, it was a very awakening experience. I don't think I completely understood what happened, and I probably would want to do it again. But I think because I didn't take it too seriously and I didn't prepare for it properly, it was probably a bad experience for me. I think if I did do it again,
what? Well,
I would take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah, no, you had an amazing psychedelic experience where you felt that you basically experienced the death state. I mean, it's funny, Taj. You're a fantastically interesting individual because you described this amazing psychedelic experience, the sensation of being dead, and having the essential elements of a death experience where you come face to face with your own mortality, and then you're saying, well, you didn't have that great an experience because you weren't taking it seriously. You had a fantastic experience. You had the ultimate trip. I mean, going through and coming back and dying and coming back. That's pretty much how it is, brother.
After we all did the ayahuasca, we sat around in a circle and sort of talked about our experience. And everyone was talking about they had these wonderful experiences. They were up in the clouds and it was all wonderful and great. And I was thinking why the fuck did I have such a bad experience? I was trying to think were these people different to me, or am I just different, or was it something that I needed to happen at that time?
Yeah.
For me, and yet they all had wonderful, sort of almost like fairy tale type experiences where they connected with Gaia and had
fuck those assholes. They're full of shit, and you had a real experience. You connected with Gaia, you fucking died. Yeah, fuck that. You know what I mean? And I'll guarantee you something, my brother. I guarantee you those guys were all professional fucking trippers. If Sarah, we all do. Some of it. Have you ever done drugs before this ayahuasca thing?
Yeah, I did a lot of drugs when I was younger.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
Things like speed, acid, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Hey, you know what I mean? What can I tell you? But seriously, so I gotta be on. Look, I mean, you came on the C.W. Chanter show. I give, hell and high water to the likes of David Wilcock and all this stuff. So I assume that when you came on and agreed to talk to me, that you knew that there was going to be some, we have to pull up ourselves by the boots. And that's.
I actually have an interesting fact here. I was born on the exact same day as David Wilcock.
Get out of town.
March the 8th, 1973. We were both born on the same day.
Hey.
I sort of call him my evil twin, but yeah, that's another story.
There you go. There you go. Well, as far as evil twins go, I think you picked a good one. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Next time you're on the Astral talking to your evil twin, do me a favor and tell him to tell Corey Good to back off. You know what I'm saying? Listen.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, brother, if I don't ask these questions, my audience is going to turn on me and they're going to say that I went soft and I was a pussy with you. Okay. So Sarah charges. There's big fucking cut prices on her fucking website. Big fucking prices, right? What? Yeah. How do we figure out? How is it decided what the charge is going to be for one of these services? And do you have any part to play in it? And have you had any influence? Have you made any arguments that they should be cheaper, more expensive?
The price has been the same for probably 4 years now. So it's been, I think it's like $250 for 1 hour. But what I would say is Sarah's completely booked up until the new year.
So that's
you can't get a session with her until January even if you wanted to.
Okay.
So slow it. I mean, that gives you an idea of like how many people are booked.
Yeah, no, it gives me a big fucking idea, brother. It gives me a big fucking idea. So let me ask you a question: does she work 5 days a week or 7 days a week?
She works 6 days a week. So
6 days a week. How many sessions does she do in a day?
On average, about 4 sessions a day.
4 sessions a day. So $1,000 a day. So she's making $6,000 a week.
A lot of those sessions are part of a package, so people aren't booking just one session. They're booking like maybe 6, 12, or 20, or so the price is. The more sessions you book, the cheaper.
Yeah.
The cheaper the hourly rate becomes.
Like so, how low is like if you were to book a package? What is the floor like? I have no moral problem asking you this because you're the fucking full-time business manager, right? You're part of. It could be anything
from $100 an hour up to $250 an hour.
Okay, but when I say that she could be making, so let me ask you a question. She could be making anywhere on any given week. She could be making probably between $4,000 and $6,000 a week.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hold on. I got a calculator here. No, brother, fuck you. I mean, I love you, man, but you're the manager. So what do we say? There's she's making between, let's say she's having a terrible year. So she's making $4,000 a week. That means she's making $16,000 a month, right? And then if I times that times 12, she's making almost $200,000 a year.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Does she have an accountant?
I guess I'm her accountant.
But you're in England. You're in England.
I know, but yeah, I look after.
Are you familiar with the American tax codes? She needs an accountant. Right. I love you, man.
Right.
I fucking love you. But you I'm telling you, I'm a fucking attorney. She needs an accountant.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll get you the name of someone in California, but she needs an accountant. I honestly, I love you, man. I didn't want to book an interview with her because I really, God bless her, but yeah, I could, Taj, I like you, man. I don't know why. Maybe when I thought about doing this interview, you know what I mean? When I was jacking off that night to online pornography, I looked in the corner and I was like, wait, the name of this gallery is TAJ 735. And I thought, this means something. Me and Taj are soul bonded. I gotta get this guy. This guy needs dude. She's making almost $200,000 a year. That's fucking wild, yo. So how do you get paid? Do you get paid like an hourly fee or a salary?
I'd rather not talk about
that's fine. That's fine because people are gonna say, if people are going to ask the question, because I think probably people are teetering on the edge, and I'm a little bit psychic too. And I can tell you, people are teetering on the edge of saying Taj is a nice guy who's being taken advantage of, or Taj is another one of these guys that's making a lot of money off people's, ability to believe.
I do okay, considering I don't have a daytime job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But this sort of stuff, this sort of work, I mean, should be like at what point, like I'll tell you this, like plenty of attorneys or doctors, if they were making $100,000 a year, they would say, you know what, I made my nut, like I made what I need to make. Like I don't need to make double this. I'm good. Like,
well, I mean, Sarah does work hard for her, for the money she earns.
She does.
It's not like, I mean, I don't think there's many people who could do the job that she does.
Oh,
listen to the client, deal with the clients that she has to deal with.
I know, deal with the clients is telling you, brother. Anyway, let me ask you this, because here's the thing. So it's one of these things. Another thing that I have is this. That's a lot of money. So let me. Some topics that can be included in the hour session include soul guidance, chakra, aura, channel, meridian balancing, channeling messages from spirit guides, angels, archangels, and ascended masters. Is that the sort of thing you charge money for? I mean, if you have the ability to connect people to angels and archangels and ascended masters, I mean, that's a religious vocation. Priests and nuns of various religions take vows of poverty. I mean, it's pretty crazy to be charging for this stuff. And like, what are the archangels and ascended masters saying? Like, oh, it's cool, tip Sarah at the door. I mean, do you think about these things?
Not really, no.
Okay. That's an honest answer, and I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Now check this out. Genetic repatterning. What does that mean?
A lot of that was written by Sarah, so
you don't know?
Something that, I guess it would be to do with changing someone's DNA or.
Yeah, but you're the brother. You're the science guy. You're the secret space program. Forget this new age stuff. Genetic repatterning, right?
Yeah.
Could she make me smart?
That depends. Everyone's different, so.
That's a no. That's a hard no. I get it. But how about this? Addictions. I mean, look, brother, I have an alcohol and drug. I'm an addict and an alcoholic. So addictions. Right. Addictions, that she's putting it down there, but in the disclaimer she says, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like this, but here, look, she's got addictions, repetitive patterns, anxiety, depression, inner child aspects, relationship with parents and other families, emotional blockages. Then that's birth issues. I mean, let me ask you a question. What's your take on Western medicine and psychiatry? Like, do you believe in Western medicine, traditional medicine?
Most Western medicine sort of, I guess, treats the symptoms and things, but it doesn't really get to the root cause of the problem. So I guess my take on Western medicine is really, they tend to treat symptoms that they see, but they don't really go any further. It's like, it's basically just take a pill for this or take a pill for that, or yeah, that's basically it, really, isn't it? I mean, that is Western medicine, isn't it, really?
Do you go, okay. So listen, check this out. In the United States and in the United Kingdom, in France and in Germany, in Russia, people are required to undergo training and be licensed if they're going to work as a therapist, either as a certified social worker, a psychoanalyst, a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or a drug and alcohol counselor, or even a hypnotherapist needs to be licensed in America, and I believe in England as well. Do you think that there's a reason that's the case, that people need to be licensed before they give mental health therapy to people?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but Sarah's not claiming to be a therapist,
Wait,
psychiatrist, or
Taj, hold on. You're smarter than this. I'm going to read these words, and I'm going to ask you to be honest about it. Addictions. Is addiction treated as a mental health issue in the United States and in Great Britain?
Addiction is, mental state issue.
How about anxiety and depression?
Yes.
Okay. So I understand that she says all these things. It's like these Bitcoin people who tell you, oh, put all your money in Bitcoin. If you get Bitcoin, you're going to be a billionaire. And then they say, but we're not giving you any financial advice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the disclaimer when you're actually, she's, what do you say to the accusation that she's practicing mental health counseling without a license?
I would disagree. I think the way that Sarah works is completely different to a counselor or a therapist or anything like that. So,
but she's claiming to be able to treat the same things.
That's correct. But a lot of the clients that Sarah treats have already been to counselors and therapists and all these other people, and nothing that they have done has actually helped them. So they come to Sarah as some alternative. You could call it alternative medicine, I guess.
Right. Okay. But part of requiring people to be licensed before they give mental health therapy is not just because because of the methodology that they use, but it's also has to do with like the ethics of things and the proper diagnosing of things, because you might have someone that presents to Sarah and says, oh, I get depressed sometimes, but if Sarah doesn't know the right questions to ask, she could be doing something for them that she says, oh, this worked for the last 5 guys that I worked with that had depression, but she doesn't know that this other person has bipolar disorder, right? What used to be called manic depressive. And then doesn't she have PTSD here underneath these things? Well, that's for the animals. And she's also for $111 she can. And now let me ask you a question. A lot of this is done remotely, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is she doing? Is she sending are these just like guided meditations that she's doing with people?
No, she can send energy healing and that kind of thing to people remotely. I think with that type of healing, you don't have to be present. It doesn't have to be like any kind of physical contact, or it can be all done remotely. So
says who?
Say that again.
Says who?
That's what she's told me.
Okay. But doesn't that seem like it's kind of an easy answer? Like I'm sitting here doing absolutely nothing except, talking to people in a calm voice. And, let me ask you a question. Do you think that there's people out there that are doing the same thing claiming to do the same thing as Sarah, but are really doing nothing except taking people's money?
There probably are lots of people like that.
Yeah. So how do we tell the difference?
That's a difficult question. I can only go by, the emails that I get from clients every day. So, as far as I can see, the work that Sarah's doing, is working. These people are being helped. And if it wasn't that way, people were, I would be getting emails every single day asking for their money back or claiming that, Sarah's a fraud or that,
right,
thousands of dollars and nothing that Sarah's done has worked. And I've been inundated with all these emails.
Right. But isn't it? Do you think it might be the case? Might it be the case that the people that come to Sarah in the first place are people that are inclined to believe that these psychic modalities work? You know what I mean? Like if a Christian goes to a faith healer, the chances are that they're going to get healed, right? That they're gonna testify to a feeling experience of healing, right?
So you're saying it's kind of a placebo effect?
Yeah, or it certainly could be, right?
So if someone gets better because of a placebo effect, does that make her work any less credible?
Well, not necessarily, but you might want to say that if it's possible that it's the placebo effect, that Sarah would say, or people would say, "Hey, Sarah, go get a job like everybody else, right? Taj, go get a job, and on your weekends, you can have these placebo effect parties where set and setting and ayahuasca or whatever, people get their shit taken care of, right? Because does the end justify the means?"
I see where you're going with this, but
I'm not, and I hope listen, Taj. I can only say, and if you want me to step back, I can, because when I say that I like you, I'm not just love bombing you. I honestly, think that you're a pretty righteous dude, which is why I remember our first email from friggin' back in the day, and probably why you show up every once in a while, even though I'm probably saying things that are completely 100% antithetical to the things that you believe. Right?
Yeah, I understand that. We don't necessarily have the same beliefs, but I've been following you for a while. It's not because I necessarily disagree with everything that you're doing, but you do put out there good work. That's why I've been following you. I would just be following you because,
right,
for whatever. But and I understand all these people have these questions about Sarah. And the thing is, again, I can't claim to have all the answers. All I know and all I can say is that what Sarah does works. And I can't claim to say how it works or, get into any kind of details about that. All I know is that I've seen people get better. I've seen people get healed. I've seen people, one client was a diabetic and no longer a diabetic. People with mental health issues who are now better. And, I can't claim to say I know process.
Right, but how do you?
This works?
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that Sarah's helped a lot of people.
Okay. Let's examine those particular claims, and I'm not gonna belabor the point or stay too long on something. The person who said that first of all, people can be diabetic and then switch their status. In my life, I have gone to being diagnosed with diabetes to clearing that diagnosis 2 times, because of my alcoholism and because of health and diet. Twice I was told not that I'm pre-diabetic, but that I had gone into a state of diabetes, and that it was then reversible with diet and exercise and statins, and it worked. So, but more to the point, this person that claimed to have been cured by diabetes, did they provide any medical records to indicate that was true?
Whether they were diabetic in the first place?
That they were diabetic in the first place, and that they came back with a doctor's note saying, "Oh my God, I don't know how the fuck you did it. You reversed your diabetes."
I haven't seen the medical records, no.
Okay, so you're just taking them at their word. Then that's fine. You know what I mean? And as far like if Sarah's not a licensed mental health professional, I think it's fair to assume that you're not a licensed mental health professional.
No.
Right. So how does Taj say or assess whether or not someone has been cured of their mental health issues?
Well, I take it from on their word, from them telling me.
Okay.
That they're better. Obviously, someone who has had mental health issues or problems knows when they're getting better. So if they're working with Sarah and they're getting better, then they're continuing the work. And if they've already tried, like I said before, a lot of these people who come to Sarah have already tried, doctors and psychiatrists, all these other Western methods, and they've gone down the alternative route. And even with the alternative route, they've tried different, like aromatherapy, hypnotherapy, and all these other things, alternative medicines, and a lot of those things haven't worked either.
Right.
So and I can't claim to say I know how Sarah's process works. I've talked to her about it a lot of ways, but I don't understand a lot of it. So all I know is that it works the majority of the time. As far as I know, from all the clients I've worked with, the Sarah's worked with over the years, I can count on probably one hand the number of people who have not been happy.
Well, yeah, but we said that, we talked about like that there could be a confirmation bias that's at play there. And and look, and I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I don't know what to tell you other than, Sarah also talks about, like, so she's not licensed as a mental health professional, and I see the disclaimer, but I also see the things that she's telling people that she can help them with. She also talks about working with the chakra system, and she actually specifically identifies something as a 12 chakra system. Taj, I don't want to make any assumptions because people, there are people of all sorts of different skin tones who have all different sorts of faiths and religion. Do you mind if I ask you if you were raised in a religious household?
My mother is religious. Yeah, I've never been religious. I mean, my family is Sikh.
Okay.
And my mother is very religious as far as that's concerned. I don't really follow Sikhism as such.
Well, I can tell by your haircut, and I can see your face.
And yeah, I'm not religious. I mean, I'm not going to say that all religions are bad, but
right.
There is, I guess, this idea that religion is a bit of a brainwashing exercise in a lot of ways. I'm talking about mostly, sort of like Christianity, Catholic sort of,
right.
Religions, and the whole thing about the Bible and everything. People take the Bible literally, and I think a lot of it is not literal, sort of, in a sense. And I've done religious education when I was in school, and I know the Bible a little bit. I'm not like an expert on the Bible. Sarah's more into that than I am, but I'm not
right.
religious, but I do take bits and pieces from different religions, but I don't profess to be religious in any way.
Okay, myself. Okay, but she's talking archangels and angels and ascended masters, right?
Right.
Do you think that that's actually happening?
I believe so. Yeah, well, she believes so. So
wait, do you believe so?
I've never seen her work with archangels, so I can't say that I've seen it happen.
Okay.
I can only tell you what she's told me. So.
But don't you? But look, as the business manager, don't you care about whether or not, because look, I mean, no offense. And this may be going out there, and you're going to tell, and you might very well be ready to tell me that, I don't know Sarah Adams. But, once upon a time, L. Ron Hubbard just had one business manager. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she's making heavy duty claims about her ability to do things. And there's obviously a religious, spiritual aspect to this work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you like what? I mean, because I don't know, brother. I don't know what to tell you because I don't want it to be go get crazy. But this 12 chakra system is interesting to me because check this out. There's in most practices there's 7 chakras, right? And the reason there's 7 chakras is probably has something to do with refracted light. There's a reason that rainbows have 7 colors. You know what I'm saying? And so we get this concept of chakras from these ancient Indian texts, like these ancient Hindu texts, and then the Buddhists also have conceptions of chakras, right? So obviously Westerners and people in the New Age community now, they didn't invent the concept of chakras, right? They got this concept and idea of chakras from these ancient religious traditions. Right. But then somebody along the way found it. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 5 extra chakras, 4 extra chakras.
Again, I don't know specifics about the 12 chakra system, so
Well,
I can't comment. I don't want to comment on something like that.
I hear you, but don't you think? Let me ask you a question: is there anything about this conversation that we're having now that in any way, shape, or form is making you think, you know what? Even if I just want to avoid or have something to say, about this stuff, I'm going to look. I should look into this stuff a little bit more, right? Because I want to know, what the heck is I'm involved with here as a business person. There's if you take 12, if you subtract 7 from 12, you get 5. So I'll tell you something. Somewhere along the lines, somebody found 5 extra chakras that the ancient Hindus and Buddhists didn't know about. And I don't know how the Buddhists and the Hindus were smart enough to come up with the original 7 chakras, but then missed out on the extra 5.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also those ancient religious teachers, didn't charge $250 for a session. If you go to a Buddhist monk and tell them that you need help with, your karma, that they don't tend to charge you that much.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, do you have a take on it? I mean, do you feel as though it's just a matter of opinion? Do you have feedback to give to me to say, Ben, I understand where you're going with this. I understand how you're articulating it, and I understand obviously what your point of view is, but my alternative point of view is this, that the charging this much money is necessary because of X, Y, or Z, or is it just, what, I'm along for the ride. I have a job here as the business manager. I didn't fix the prices. I just do the marketing. I just do the connection. I do the website. I do the administration. If you want to talk about the tune that she's singing, if you want to talk about her choice of song to sing, you got to talk to the lady.
I don't know what you want me to say. I mean,
tell me the truth. Tell me how you feel about it.
I mean, what specifically about what, the pricing, or about what in particular do you want me to comment on?
What do you listen? Let me ask you a question. Okay, here. Do you think that it's reasonable to charge $250 to people for spiritual help?
It's reasonable in that people are prepared to pay that. Yeah.
So whatever somebody's willing to pay, that's reasonable.
I would say that is what we charge, and that is what people are prepared to pay to work with Sarah. So,
well, what about the people? What about the people that don't have that money? Wouldn't she be? Then, hey, let me ask you a question.
We do.
Yeah.
We do work with that price. That's not necessarily the price that everybody pays. I mean, some people have paid as little as $50 for a session with Sarah. But it all depends on the person, the circumstances. Yeah. And, if someone emails me and says, I don't have any money, or we've even given free sessions to people. So it's not like that is a fixed sort of price that everybody pays, and, she doesn't do sessions for less than $250, because that's not the case. So in that sense, we do take individual circumstances into consideration.
Do you have, does your company have first of all, is Sarah incorporated?
Yes, she has an LLC, yeah.
An LLC, okay. And is it a sole proprietorship? Is there anyone that's part of the company? Are you part of the company?
No, it's just her name.
Just her name, okay. Okay. Do you guys have a system in place to say, okay, we're going to give 10 free sessions to people in need every quarter or every month?
No, it's just a matter of people can email, the website. If they want to have a session, if someone, she's posted about this on her Facebook, many times that she gives free sessions, and people, if they want to email the website, and, if they're, on disability, or if they're not working or whatever, then I will take those emails and I'll give them to Sarah. She will, say, yep, okay, these people can have free sessions. But again, it's like people do, take advantage of that kind of thing. And we have had people where, people have had free sessions that have got money and they can pay for it, and that kind of thing. So it's all down to an individual basis to where we feel it would be even benefit someone having a free session. If someone needs, if Sarah feels that someone's going to need 10 or 20 sessions to get anywhere, then there's no point giving them just one free session.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay. But so they get a price break. So if it's $250 a pop, but Sarah says to them that she thinks they need 10 sessions. That would start off at a maximum of $2,500.
The client would tell us what they can afford, and then I would give it, and then Sarah would decide if she's happy to accept that. If they can afford $50 a session or $100 a session, then it's up to Sarah to say yes or no to that. And most of the time, she says yes.
Right. Okay. So someone asked in the live chat, they wanted me to ask you about the ethical and karmic implications. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe in karma? And I don't ask you like as a, you know what I mean? Like you believe in karma.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Right. So if Sarah is doing something that she shouldn't be doing, and you're her business manager, and you haven't asked certain questions about this business, do you think there's possible karmic implications for you?
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Okay. So a question came in. Talk about the ethical and karmic implications for taking money to speak to nonverbal disabled children. Has Sarah ever charged anyone to speak to their nonverbal disabled child?
Nonverbal disabled child?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Would you tell me if you were aware of it?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Would you feel bad if you knew that? Do you think you should ask about whether or not that happened?
I'm not aware that it has happened. I mean,
would you ask?
I know Sarah works with children. Most of the time, she doesn't charge to work with children. So
what work does she do with children?
I can't remember specific clients at the moment.
Okay.
I can't remember specifics at the moment.
Okay.
But she has worked with children in the past, yeah.
Does she do mediumship? Does she speak to the dead?
She does see the dead, yeah. She does contact the dead, yeah.
Does she speak to the dead? Do people come to her and say, my father died, my husband died, and I want to speak to them. Can you contact them on the other side and have them come through?
No, not in that way, no.
Okay.
No.
I don't know. So, I mean, look, let me go back here. Has she ever spoken? Like, has anyone ever? So, someone's pushing on this, so it makes me think that they might know something. Has Sarah ever? Has it ever been the case that someone had a disabled child who was nonverbal, and Sarah used her gifts to speak for the child?
Again, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Would you be willing to? Do you care enough to ask her?
Sorry?
Do you care enough to ask her?
Yeah. I can ask her, yeah.
Yeah. What would it ever be an acceptable answer to you if she were to say, yes, I did? And you can answer any way you want to,
It depends what she did. I'm not sure what the person is trying to
they're saying that sorry. The accusation would be that Sarah was contacted by people and she told them that she could use her powers to let the child's voice come through her so that they could speak to their nonverbal child. And that would be like some crazy shit to do to somebody.
It would be, yeah, but I don't know what you mean by when you say like nonverbal child. You're just talking about.
You've ever seen a disabled child who was so disabled they couldn't speak?
Right. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So you're saying that this person is saying that Sarah has spoken on behalf of a nonverbal child. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that, but I can ask Sarah. Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to lie to me, that would be like a shitty thing to do to me, right?
Of course, yeah.
Right.
I mean, right. I don't know what this person is asking I mean, obviously they know something I don't
not,
know. But...
Taj. It's not. It's you. Listen, you're a smart guy. It's not a grand mystery. What they're saying is, and I'll go so far as to say, Taj, they're saying that you're lying because they are saying that Sarah spoke for a disabled, nonverbal child. So this person,
well, I can't answer that question because I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that. I'd have to ask Sarah.
Okay.
That happened.
And what if she said yes?
If she said yes, then I would tell you.
Right. But would you have any personal feelings about that?
I haven't thought about it really. I mean, I don't know what the implications of that would be.
The implications of that would be is that you have a poor, disadvantaged man or woman, father and mother of a child who's been, horribly disabled because life is just kind of shitty, maybe, or for whatever reason. And then they meet someone who, Sarah doesn't have to be lying. There's 1,000,003 psychics out there that, they think that they're telling the truth about their abilities. But what they're really doing is they're saying something that's not scientifically verifiable. They're saying something that's indistinguishable from playing pretend. Right. I mean, I would think it a really crazy, kooky thing. My heart would turn against Sarah if I were ever to hear that she had spoken for a nonverbal child. And I'll tell you, voice to voice, obviously we're not speaking face to face. I would tell you to your fucking face, Taj, if you don't want to burn in hell for 1,000 eternities at least, not saying that you'll never get out of hell, but I would tell you that you shouldn't work with someone who's going to speak on behalf of a nonverbal disabled child, because look, I'm biased. I don't think any of this shit's true, right? Meaning as far as this stuff. Ay.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean, I apologize, but you know me. I get excited about this stuff.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Animal Reiki. You charge $111 to do remote energy work on animals, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And what happened to the artificial intelligent black goo, Taj?
The artificial intelligence black goo?
Yeah.
I don't know what did happen to
it. Don't you think that that's kind of curious that it just kind of disappeared?
It has sort of disappeared. I mean, I haven't spoken to Sarah about that for a long time.
Well, how the fuck did you forget about it, Taj?
A lot of people have.
How? Let me ask you a question. Did you at one time believe in the artificial intelligent black goo?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you think
that was
did you stop believing in it?
I still haven't made up my mind because, I mean, I looked into the whole, the Falkland Islands story. I don't know if you know about that.
That was bullshit. That's a bullshit story.
That was, but the Marconi and the whole
Marconi fucking bullshit story.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But again.
So here's what I knew in 2015. In 2015, Carrie Cassidy and Miles Johnson and all the people that they had them talk to were saying that the humanity was. You remember Harold Klutzvella?
Yeah, I remember Harold. Yeah.
You ever meet him?
I met him. Yeah.
Was he as fun at a party as I think he would be?
He would be no fun at a party.
No fun at a party. So let me ask you this. So at one point, artificial intelligent black goo was an actual existential threat to humanity, right?
Right. Who said that?
I mean, that was what it was supposed to be, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden, people just stopped talking about it.
Yeah, I know.
So how the fuck does that happen?
I have no idea.
Do you, I have a theory. You want me to let you know about it?
Go ahead.
That none of this shit is true, and that people talk about this shit long enough to get excited about it, but when they have to realize that they'd have to admit that their conspiracy theory worldview is like maybe not true, then they just stop talking about it and start talking about something else, right? Remember, it was like the gray aliens, the gray aliens, the gray aliens. And then all of a sudden they became passe. So then it's the Dracos and the reptilians, right? And then it's the artificial intelligent black goo. Right? Tell us about the Black Goo.
Yeah.
Miles Johnson. I do a great Miles Johnson impersonation. Taj, tell me about the Black Goo.
Yeah.
So that's where you saw the artificial intelligent Black Goo. Scuttler spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But if the artificial intelligent Black Goo was out there, and now here, let me ask you another question. Taj, did you ever watch the X-Files?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the Black Goo?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that scene where the Russian operative and Mulder they're trapped in like Siberia or something, and they have the chicken wire that's over them, and they're strapped to the gurney, and then they spill the Black Goo that's going to go into their ears and eyes?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Did you ever see Sarah Adams, one of her first interviews on the Basis Project, when there were that super soldier thing?
Yeah, she talked about Black Goo,
Yeah. She specifically said she remembered them strapping the kids down to a gurney and putting the chicken wire over their faces and the artificial intelligent Black Goo being poured on them.
Right. Okay.
Right. I mean, how do you stop talking about the artificial intelligent Black Goo if that happened to you as a kid? How do you create a website and then go on with your life and have a marketing team and go on to crystal chakra healing and all this stuff and not talk about the artificial intelligent Black Goo if the artificial intelligent Black Goo was a true story?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Do you have a feeling about it? Do you have a theory about it?
I wouldn't just say that just because she doesn't talk about it doesn't mean it's not still an issue.
Could you ever imagine stopping talking about it if it was still an issue?
Maybe it's no longer an issue. I don't know.
Oh, really? I mean, okay. I mean, do you think about these things? I mean, do you care? I mean, do you think the questions that I'm posing have value? I mean, do you think they're important questions to ask?
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
But the thing is that I don't have the answers to everything, so I can only tell you what I know.
No, but you can also tell me. You can tell me what you think and feel.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I can only answer what I can answer.
Right.
I don't know everything.
Well, let me ask you a question. Has any gears in your head started to turn as I ask you these questions about the artificial intelligent Black Goo?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I really don't know what to think about it right now.
That's fine. But listen, can I tell you something, my friend? And I talk this way, and I know that it can come off as love bombing. I'm really not trying to do that. I really do. I love people. I care about people, and I get excited about the pricing structure and shit because not because I want to give Sarah a hard time or I want to be, because I want people to be poor or whatever. Because I'm trying to look out for everybody. You know what I mean? I don't charge you know what I mean? Like I don't charge $250. Most doctors and if you, first of all, if someone was in Great Britain and they had the national health, they wouldn't be paying anywhere near $250. Would they be paying anything to go see a therapist? Someone who's been trained to talk to people with depression and PTSD and stuff?
No.
Right.
No, not under the NHS.
Right. Does Sarah have any sort of certification, not in licensed hypnotherapy or mental health practices? Does she have a Reiki certification?
No.
Okay. Does she have any certification saying that she completed a class or was, ordained to practice 12 chakra meditation healings by any, guru or master?
No.
Okay. Was there a period of time that you knew Sarah where she was not talking about 12 chakra healing modalities and animal Reiki?
Say that again.
So
was there a time?
Yeah, no. I kind of threw it out there. Taj, was there ever a time in your life where you said to yourself, your entire journey with Sarah, the things that she's saying that she does now, like opening Stargate portals, being able to do chakra and meridian balancing, etc. Was there ever a period in time where in your relationship, that she used to not say that she had these abilities and then all of a sudden started saying she had new abilities?
I've always known that she's had those abilities. Well, she's talked to me about those abilities for a number of years.
So there's nothing new here.
Not really, no.
Okay, so she's always told.
I mean, not everything. Sarah doesn't talk publicly about a lot of her work. So we talk every day, as I said before, and she does tell me a lot of the stuff that happens to her and a lot of the work that she does, but she doesn't make it public. She only makes it public when she feels inappropriate. So just because she says she's opening Stargates, today, doesn't mean she wasn't doing it 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Do you think she can open Stargates?
She says she can.
Taj, yeah. Do you think that
I haven't seen it.
Do you think that she can, or do you think that she? Do you think that she can?
I think that she can. Yeah. I mean, I'm more aware of her abilities than most people. So, if she says that she can do something, then I'm not. I don't believe that she's lying.
Okay, so you believe that she can, but you believe that she can because she said it.
Yes.
Okay. Does that seem like a great way to live your life, or does that seem like a great way to possibly, God bless you, Taj. You know what I mean? What can I tell you, brother?
Well, I mean, it's all a matter of whether you want to believe. Whether you want to believe what Sarah does or not.
Right. Do you want
to pick and choose and say you can't pick and choose and say that you believe this bit and you don't believe that bit. You either do. Obviously as a manager, I can't say to you, I believe this bit, but I don't believe that bit. Do you see? And so
right.
I've known about her abilities. I know about her work for a long time, and she says that she can do something, then I'm inclined to believe her. More so than people who don't even know her, never met her, never spoken to her.
Right.
Can comment and say whatever they want.
Sure.
They don't know her because they've never even spoken to her. So I mean, whose opinion would you listen to?
But no. Taj, I'll give you a completely straight answer to this that either may resonate with you as true or not. People. The stranger might not have the right opinion about someone because the stranger doesn't know that person. But it is often the case that the people that are very, like, you ever hear of what's known as a dysfunctional relationship?
Yes.
Right. You ever hear about, battered woman syndrome?
Not specifically, no.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what it is. Battered woman syndrome is a woman who, despite the fact that their husband or their wife, or sometimes it's the husband being the wife, a person in a relationship is getting physically abused by their partner, right? And yet when that person is told you have to break up and leave your partner, they say, you don't understand. I love them and they love me. They only beat me up because they had so much trouble at work, right? People get involved in dysfunctional relationships. Right. So isn't it a possibility that it's not the stranger that might have the wrong opinion, but it might be the friend or relative?
Yes, you could say that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're just who knows? It's not for me to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, brother, I mean, like it'll get only more uncomfortable from here. You know what I mean? And I mean, look, I mean, at this point, I'm willing to say that we I just wish you'd think about these things because it's kind of cuckoo. I mean, it could be really, if you believe in karma, some of this shit could be really fucked up karmically. You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah, I understand. I'm always about that.
Okay. And you're down for the cause.
What do you mean by the cause?
The cause being Sarah's dedication to Sarah's project, her life, her livelihood, her work.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you have you ever thought about the fact that like maybe if you were, not working with Sarah, your life may have gone in a different direction?
All the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think
I do.
right. Do you think that, maybe Tosh, I'm going to do something really embarrassing and desperate, but I'm going to do it, okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you comfortable with? I'm going to do something disgusting and embarrassing. But I feel my heart tells me, my little psychic heart tells me it's what I should do.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Taj, she's no good for you. She's getting you involved in this crazy karmic bullshit nightmare. You could do great research and work on your own. You could go and have because this is never going to fucking end, right? Like, where's the time for Taj? You were the administrator of the Basis Project forum group within a short period of time, and it sounds like that gave you a lot of life satisfaction. But because people were being mean to Sarah, you couldn't be involved in that. You were doing Revolution Radio where you're talking to Benjamin Fulford multiple times. Why the fuck you'd want to speak to that guy? I have no idea. You got a chance to talk to the Andrew Bashago, et cetera, et cetera. Mary Rodwell, she's a big deal, right? But then all of a sudden you're not doing that because of Sarah. And now, like, when Taj, are you married or do you have a relationship?
No.
Okay.
I'm not married.
Right. Do you think do you think you might want to have one day?
Probably, yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, who the fuck? Who am I to judge? My life story. I threw my life away on a fucking, internet romance. Did you hear about that story?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh God, well you're out of the loop. But anyway, brother, yeah, look, I got feet of clay is what I'm trying to say is that, I'm in no way, shape, or form a position to kind of judge you as far as, how you live your life. But come on, man. Like, let me ask you a question. If a girl can open stargates and then I ask you what's the craziest, wildest shit you've ever seen her do, and it's like she had a freak out in a tomb, and you saw a license plate with 3 letters in the right combination to spell your 3-letter name. Wouldn't you think that if someone could open a fucking Stargate that you'd see like some crazy shit, like them opening Stargates?
I don't know. I can only tell you what I know.
But but I'm asking you a question about what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
Right. No, I get that. So, the point that I'm trying to make, Taj, is this: you like we mentioned science fiction. What's your favorite science fiction like intellectual property? Like, what's your jam? Were you into the Marvel universe? Are you into Star Wars, Star Trek, Isaac Asimov's Foundation, Dune? What cranks your yank?
Yeah, all of that really. Marvel, yeah.
Right.
DC Comics.
Okay.
Star Wars.
Beautiful.
Even things like Back to the Future. And,
yeah.
All
time travel. Time travel was my jam. I had to give up. You know why I had to give up time travel?
Why?
Because I was so successful at it, I kept on relapsing on drugs and alcohol. If I'm lying, I'm dying, Taj. If you're into time travel, you should check out my channel. I've done some heavy work on time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No shit.
Okay.
Can I tell you what my advice? Can I tell you what my advice about time travel is now?
Okay, then.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. Why? What? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Wherever you go, you're there. If me and Taj get into a time travel machine and go to the year 3000, you know what's going to be fucked up about the year 3000?
Go on.
We're going to be there, right? Right? We're in the fantastic freewheeling world of 3000, but we don't kind of get it. We're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like what? And now I got to spend the time with this guy. That's a wacky buddy comedy that no one wants to see. Taj and Benjamin travel to the future of the year 3000 for some reason. Can they make it back? Does anyone care? Sarah Adams is out of business manager, but yeah, exactly. I don't know. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. But I got to tell you something, man. I'm not, the one thing that I'm really not comfortable with is I'm really not comfortable with these pricing structures, man. I think it's crazy out of whack. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. Yeah, and I think the best of you. So you know what I mean? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And I would hope that if someone were to say to you, whether they're your best friend or, you know, a gal you like, or, you know, you're, you know, whatever, you know, that if they were to tell you, these parents who had this disabled kid that couldn't speak wanted to speak to them. So I took their money and I told them that I was speaking for the kid. You know what I mean? That's heavy, man. Unless, I mean, if you think that she did it, then I guess she did a good thing, right?
I don't know what to think about that right now. So.
Yeah, no. I'm playing with your mind, right?
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's what's up. So look, I mean, we'll probably call it, because I don't want it to. We've been here for 2.5 hours, my man. Now here's what I'll say. There's people that are going to think I'm a cocksucker for saying this. For 2.5 hours, I asked you a lot of on the spot, tough fucking questions. Okay. I'm not saying that worthless cocksucking motherfucker Stephen Cambion didn't ask you some tough questions, but Lord knows I gave you a harder time. You know why?
Why?
Because unlike Stephen Cambion, I'm not a fucking sellout. Nah, I'm fucking kidding. I'm fucking busting everybody's balls. Listen, brother, you know what I mean?
I don't mind getting my balls busted.
There you go. Well, no, you hang out with. Listen, my friend, you hang out with Sarah Rachel Adams as her business manager after being her personal assistant for Lord knows how many fucking years. I bet you your balls are polished to a fine sheen, right? I bet your balls have seen so much fucking busting that you don't know what's what, right? Sharpen knives on those bad boys. There you go. Listen. Is there any questions that you have for me? Are there any things that after this, is there anything, parting words that you want to say based on what we've talked about, what we've discussed, what we brought up?
Strangely, nothing comes to mind. But
I don't know whether to be happy about that or sad.
I mean, I would like to speak to you again. Funnily enough.
Yeah, I would love to speak to you again too.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say is that this whole area in which we work in is the unknown in many respects, and I'm learning just as you are,
right?
From day to day about what's going on in the world, and everything that happens, I believe, happens for a reason. Okay. Nothing is a coincidence, and all I will say is I hope to speak to you again in the future. And, I mean, I enjoy these conversations, and whether it's whether you take something positive away from this or not, I don't know. But I hope your audience enjoyed the conversation.
I'm sure they did. And you know what's great is that you can walk away if there's any problem with you walking away or feeling any hard feelings. Don't worry, because these sons of bitches that are my tried and true audience, they're gonna be like, you didn't ask him this, you let him off the hook on that. You're worse than Stephen Cambion. It's all. But look, you can't play to everybody. You can't make everyone happy. Hey man, are you into tarot cards?
Not really, no. I mean,
do you have any
tarot card, yeah?
Are you in opposition? Here's what I can do. I usually pull a tarot card for the whole show. I could pull one for you, or I could pull one for the whole show.
Yeah, you can pull one for me if you want.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, I got this really cheesy Halloween deck, which I love. You like Halloween?
Yeah.
Are you going to dress up this year?
I don't really do that. No.
Why not?
Probably not.
You should.
No, I'm not really. I think that's really for kids and stuff, really.
But come on now. But anyway, it is what it is.
Sarah's the one who dresses up for Halloween.
Oh, I bet you. Hey, let me ask you a question, Taj. On a scale of slutty to slutty, what's Sarah going to wear this year? That's not a joke about Sarah. That's a joke about gals.
Yeah, both ways.
Uh-huh.
So,
Won't touch that with a 10-foot pole, right? That's it, right? It's like, I don't want to get fired. I just got this job, right? There you go. Hey, man, it is what it is, bro. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, I don't tell her this. Tell her that if she doesn't dress provocatively, here's a suggestion. Tell her the following. I know she's got money out the wazoo and she doesn't need my cash, but tell her that if she dresses up like C.W. Chanter, I'll give her $150.
Okay.
Okay. And Taj, here I'll make an even better deal. If you dress up like C.W. Chanter, I'll give you $15.
Okay, I'll see if I can find a costume somewhere for that.
It's easy. Just get Jesus and then just dirty it up a little bit. Replace the robe with the t-shirt. You'll be fine. All right, brother, I'm gonna pull a card for you. Okay, man. Okay. So what I got the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Earth. You know, it's funny, Taj. I mean, we get the suit of Pentacles. That's Earth. A lot of people automatically see that coin and immediately think money, but that makes a lot of sense because if there's anything that we know about life on planet Earth, right? It's the fact that we gotta feed each other. From the Bhagavad Gita to the Book of Creation, the Book of Genesis, right? Adam and Eve getting kicked out of the forest, the Garden of Eden. There's got to be an explanation for why life on this planet is tied to the things that we have to do just to make it through and survive, right? But the Queen of Pentacles reminds us that even in this earthly realm where we're having to deal with these things like money or protecting ourselves from the elements, there is something. I mean, we came from the earth, even if there's no sort of metaphysical or supernatural metaphysical underpinning to the universe, even if it's just like the physical scientists and the rationalists tell us like it is. We know this about planet Earth: its interaction with the sun, the water, the moon, the tides, that this is a place where life can grow and evolve and come to be, right? It nurtures us. The Queen of Pentacles is the watery, eternal feminine energy coming through that minor feminine energy of the physical world. Okay, but we're nurtured by it and we have to do it. Okay, but I'll tell you the other thing. This is that there's no way that I'm going to pull a card like the Queen of Pentacles in the context of this conversation and say, hey, we've been talking a lot about women, huh? We've been talking a lot about a woman, right? So I don't know what to make of it. I always tell people, if I don't know exactly what anything means or is, then I won't say. So I'm a dummy when it comes to tarot cards. I'm really not that good. But I will say this, is that it's funny to me, you know, synchronicities and coincidences happen, that of all the things that we should pull when we're talking about you and this conversation, we pull a Queen card and a Queen of Pentacles, because we've also been talking about money, right? So here's some feedback that I want to give you to think about. Okay. Now, I'm not going to act as though I'm an impartial witness. I'm not going to act as though what I see has nothing to do with what I believe or, you know, my internal prejudices or presumptions. Right. So you take this with a grain of salt for all those reasons. A man should be cautious if his attachment to a person is not only predicated upon the energy that they give them, but is also predicated upon their continued financial support of you. Right?
Right.
That's getting tied in on a whole bunch of different levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just, if the card comes up because of our psychic presence and our psychic, you know, energy in the room, or even if it just comes up because it's a random fucking card, right? There's 78 cards. One of them was going to come up, right?
Yeah.
And if I picked a different card, I would have told a different bullshit story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ain't that the way? But I think it's cool. It is what it is. Thank you. So now I'm going to pull a card for the whole, all of us together. Okay. The whole video. Okay. This next card is about the video, and then I'll let you go because you've been here for 2 hours and 20 minutes. But don't forget, this is technically a business call. You can write this off. You can. It's a business call. Oh, shit. We pulled the Fool. brand new journey, brand new journey, brand new journey. Even when we are old, even when we have so much wisdoms on letters A, B, and C, and numbers 1, 2, 3. We don't know what we don't know, and we turn around and we think we know everything. We think we know everything, and then all of a sudden, whoops-a-daisy, we didn't know about that hole in the middle of the road that we just landed in, right? We didn't know that we were going to turn down that block and see the woman that we were going to spend the next 30 years of our lives with, right? We didn't know that we were going to get hit by that bus, right? But that's a beautiful thing. It means no matter where we find ourselves and no matter how much we think we're in a rut, the nature of this universe is such that everything is subject to stasis and everything is subject to change. But we need to be prepared, because when that change comes, we may want to be able to handle it like a super stud with a sword, but we may end up playing the fool. There's an old song that I love. You ever hear this one? Everybody plays the fool sometime. You know that one?
It sounds familiar.
Oh my God, you're older than me, brother. You gotta know that song. Play it on iTunes. Anyway, my friend, you know what? We've had this journey together. You know, I didn't know what this interview was going to be about, and I didn't know how it was going to pan out, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, we'll go back to our respective communities, we'll go back to our respective corners, and everyone's going to say, "Man, you fucked up."
Right.
They are, but that's beautiful. But think about the things we talked about tonight, brother.
Okay, I will do.
Okay, because if there's anything, I might be 100% wrong, but I'm 100% sincere.
Yes, I know you are.
Good. And we'll talk again.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Hopefully.
There you go. And if you need anything, and if anyone gets pissed off at you, you tell them to call me up, and I'll be like, I am sorry. I'm an FBI, CIA, Illuminati, cabal sex shell. And I was sent on this mission. Hey, do you ever see the movie Karate Kid, the first one?
Yeah.
Remember when the evil dojo master tells the one kid to sweep the leg?
Yeah.
And then he does, and then he immediately comes up to the guy when he's on the ground with Ralph Macchio's character. He's like, I'm sorry. Right?
Yeah.
If anyone turns to you, just tell them to call me, and I'll tell them, I'll be like, oh man, I had to do it. They told me to go after Taj. I didn't want to. They made me. And in the back of my mind, I knew that he was sitting there through all those uncomfortable questions and conversations, and he knew that if I didn't do my job, they were going to kill me, man. Okay. One love. I'll talk to you later, brother.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Be good, man.
Bye.
And that was the interview with Taj of Taj Investigates. I first learned about Taj when I saw him on the Basis Project with Miles Johnston. And then, we became aware of the fact that he was, doing all this stuff for Sarah Adams. If a guy spends that much time on the phone talking to me, I'm not going to turn around and then start doing a post-mortem without him present. Everyone who's interested and would be interested into tuning into this broadcast and seeing how this conversation would go down is smart enough and old enough to have their own opinion. There ain't shit I'm going to say. If you think that I softballed him or let him get away with anything, then there ain't jack shit that I'm going to say that you probably won't take as me trying to justify myself or trying to explain it away. If you think that I was like an asshole to him, there's nothing that I'm going to say that might not seem like rationalization at all either. So, I mean, it is what it is. And quite frankly, I got to tell you something. Quite frankly, it's a weird place to be because I feel as though I have 100% idea about what's really going on. You know what I mean? And the one thing I'll say is this is not about who's working for the Illuminati, who's here for God and all that shit. There ain't no one on this scene, Miles Johnston, Kerry Cassidy, Simon Parks, me, Stephen Camion, Paranormal Hood. There ain't no one here on either side of any imagined fence that is not a human being on planet Earth. All of these adventures, all of these stories, all of these things. Even, and if there's an alien, you throw the alien and Bigfoot into the fucking picture, guess what? There too, if the fucking Yeti alien, if the Yeti fucking shaman Sasquatch is real, then if he were part of this conversation, guess what? He's another cocksucker at the fucking conversation. You know what I mean? He's another motherfucker who's done good things and bad things. If Bashar is a fucking alien, he's up there going, man, I fucking said what I thought was right. You know, I fucked this shit up. You know what I mean? No one's perfect. People crash the spaceships because they fuck up and they crash and they get spotted, and then maybe there's no UFOs, and it's just, and even if there were fucking aliens, so fucking what? Right? I get my ass kicked around by a society full of billionaires, right? I'm making not much money in a world full of people. During COVID, I, like a lot of people, got financially fucking devastated, right? It did no favors to me or my business. None. Jeff Bezos had more money than Jesus, Space Jesus, before fucking COVID. Him and Elon Musk had more money than fucking, you don't know, before fucking COVID. And during COVID, when everyone was getting fucking ass raped with no fucking grease, they came out the other end with even more money. What the fuck? So if an alien comes down with powers to do this, that, or the other thing, how the fuck is my life changed? I still got to live this life caring about my kids, caring about my family, caring about you guys, caring about me, whatever, all that shit, trying to stay sober with someone more powerful than the more powerful people I had to deal with before, right? And even if the alien can keep you around, the alien shows up and says, CW, it's not like you think, man. We're not here to rape you in the ass. We're not here to probe you. And I'll be like, man, some guys have all the luck. And they'll be like, well, if you want. And I'll be like, hey, let's pretend that you had to. And they're like, I know. Well, I'll give you $15. They're like, okay, well, you know. If they tell me that they can let me live for 1,008 years, guess what? On year 1,007, it's my last year on fucking planet Earth or wherever, on fucking space Mars or whatever. If they tell me that I can live for 10,800 years, there's going to be a 10,799th year, whether I see it coming or I don't. Right? Ain't nothing changes. I don't know who lied, who told the truth, who's zooming who. Remember that old Patti LaBelle song? Who's zoom, or was it Aretha Franklin? Now I gotta look that shit up. Aretha Franklin. Who's zooming who? 1985. Listen. Okay. 2 hours and 46 minutes. I'll stay here for another 15 minutes. We'll round it out to 3 hours. We didn't take questions from the audience for Taj. If I see a question from me that I feel like I don't want to go into because I feel like it would be, bad, that it would be douchey for me and my moral and ethical standpoint to have the conversation without, I don't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to say like one thing to a guy's face, pull him a tarot card and then be like, peace, and then come back and say like, Taj, fuck that guy. Am I buffering? Are you serious? That sucks. Eric says, I'll call in CW and tell you about Sarah. I was watching you guys in the live chat. Eric Awakening, man, I love you. We met face to face, right? I did go to a chiropractor after we talked at Contact in the Desert, right? But you are a true believer, man. You are a true believer too. If I had you on, they tell me I was a shit heel and let you get away with too much. Jonaside says, great interview. But the Jonaside is the Taj to my Sarah Rachel Adams. Lisa Kane is here. Say hello to everyone in the live chat. If you got any questions or comments for me, feel free to go ahead and put it in all caps. You could say anything you want to. Hold on, wait, I got to do one thing. Damn it, where's my chapstick? I have this thing lately. I've got this like dry, chapped lips. It's because all the Illuminati ass I've been having. So the Boule shame ritual. They're giving me fucking chapped lips to have to fucking deal with. I had a fucking thing. Yeah, I'll find it later. Anyway, so questions for me in all caps. What can I tell you? Brando, was this your first time talking to Taj? I believe it was. I think the closest we've ever come to talking was the Six Drops says she stole the chapstick. You son, I'll get you back, Six Drops. Why the hell did you travel all the way to across the country, halfway across the country, CW? You on the scam? What are you doing? And I'd be like, I had to get my chapstick back. They were like, why don't you just go to the CVS and get another chapstick? I'll be like, it was the principal. Oh God, Eric, I love you. Mendoza, Smith. So Mendoza, Emery Smith. I'm gonna read. You made the comment, Eric. I'm gonna read it. Mendoza, Emery Smith, and Wildcock are all proven frauds and grifters. No one has provided proof that Sarah's a grifter. Only assumptions. Yeah, but you know what? It's not on us to prove that she's telling the truth. You know, it's not as though. So here's the accusation of her being a grifter. From my point of view, if these abilities are real, then by some sort of definition, I think, based on the claims that are being made, then these are spiritual, God-given, goddess-given gifts. And I don't know what to say about a person that has God-given, goddess-given gifts and uses them to enrich themselves to the tune of nearly $200,000 plus a year. Remember, those are just sessions. We didn't talk about conference fees or marketing or kickbacks from the products that are available for sale. You know, when we think about ancient spiritual masters, we don't usually think about people, right, who seem to give a real big shit about making sure that they looked as good as Teal Swan and drove a better car than Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. Now, Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh had plenty of smart-ass, wise things to say about why a spiritual enlightened guru should have a fleet of Rolls Royces, right? The prosperity preachers like Creflo Dollar and Joel Osteen can go into the Bible and find all sorts of things that, despite the fact that we thought it was about not caring about material possessions, actually it's about God wanting you to be rich. Sure it is. And ain't that some shit that the guy that's telling the people that the true meaning of Christianity is getting yourself some has got a congregation with hundreds of thousands of followers, and the guy that's on the street corner saying you got to give it all to God and you don't care, you can't take it with you, but ain't nothing more precious than the heavenly kingdom. Therefore, I stay here at this storefront church telling people not fantastic things like they can do whatever the fuck they want, but shit that they don't want to hear, like, are you out there chasing the dollar? Are you out there? Why are you spending $500 on your hair when there's people in this community that don't have $500 to eat? All that guy, for some reason, doesn't have that many people in his pews. It's axiomatic, Eric. I love you. I love you like anything. You're a tall drink of water. If I was gay, I'd suck your dick. Honestly, he's a good-looking guy, Eric. You ever meet him? But I wouldn't choose you to choose my spiritual master. I think you're a believer. God bless you. That doesn't mean you believe everything. But if you tell me that you can look at Mendoza's ugly ass, David Wilcox's ugly ass, and Emery Smith's ugly ass and tell them that you know that they're proven grifters, but you look at Sarah Rachel Adams and say, well, look, the jury's still out. I'm going to tell you, my man, I may need to go to the chiropractor, but you may need to go to the Peppermint Rhino, whatever the place it's called. Yeah, I kid because I love. I know it's great. I said, if you have any questions for me, put it in all caps, and everyone's like, no caps. Fuck you. Hold on. Eric Awakening, man. I feel like those Hollywood gossip columnists on the old timey radio. And who is seen coming out of the Warwick Hotel with Sarah Rachel Adams? Is that Eric Awakening Man? Yeah, fresh off the scene from hanging out with the Sasquatches in Yosemite Park. Seems like somebody. I'm teasing you. I love you. I love you. Tweet me my phone number. Oh God, there you go. Eric, listen, here's how I'm gonna fuck Eric Awakening Man in the ass. This is how it's gonna go down. Eric writes, CW, I'll tweet you my number in private chat, but don't you dare give it out, please. And I'll say, don't worry, Eric. I won't tell anybody online about your phone number. Meanwhile, not since 1972 has so many bathroom stalls been emblazoned with if you want to get your cock sucked like nobody's business, as long as you let me put my thumb in your ass, call this number. I'm into the rough stuff, so if I act like I'm not into it, that just means you need to call me back. Tell him CW sent you. Mario Heat says the Twitch stream died. Mario Heat says, are you looking forward to buy something on Black Friday, CW? I'm no messing with no Black Friday. I do that that Cyber Monday shit. Mayor W says, are you prepared to hire Taj? I'll do whatever it takes. I'm like, I consider I'll be like the Kevin Costner to his Whitney Houston. You know what I mean? When UFO MegaCon is falling apart around the edges, he'll be like, who are you? I'll be like, I'm CW Chanter and I'm getting you the fuck out of here. And oh, getting a little lavender in here. Woo! Anyway, I kid because I love. What did I pull for the stream? I can't remember. Oh, the Fool. That's right. Eric, lol, you're the best CW Chanter. That's not what she said. What's great, I love people because there's all this controversy and then no one is like, what? Here's Oswald Spangler, sexy motherfucker. CW, if you were to hire the most legit medium you could find to interview any deceased spirit, which would you choose? You know, I wouldn't because I don't believe in mediumship, but I will tell you this. I'll tell you to put it out there. Here's what I'll say. So I was at the Renaissance Fair with my ex-wife, and our kids, right? And we go to Psychic Row. And I'm like, that's where all the tarot card readers and the fortune tellers are. And we were just going to walk through, and my ex-wife is saying, you should do this, you'd make a lot of money. I'm like, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have the sense of humor, and where am I going to get a dress that fits? Anywho, but we're walking by, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this little old lady in this little old wooden house, and her I think her name was Rosalinda or something, and she had a little sign, and it was emblazoned with a very cool psychedelic kind of Virgin Mary thing. There's all sorts of like weird God things around. So I walked by her, and I had the corner of my eye, I kind of saw her, and I was like, interesting. I got a little vibe. And so we're walking, and people are talking. I say, hey to the ex-wife. I said, you want to get your tarot cards read? I said, she goes, what, by you? I go, no. I said, one of the gals back there. I got a good vibe off of her. And she's like, you got a vibe off one of the little old ladies? I said, yeah. I said, I'll pay. So we go back to the little old lady, and as if she knew that we were coming back, she was already like doing the whole thing. $25. 20 to 5. Here you go. Who's getting the reading? This gal. The kids are watching. They're like, whatever. And so the lady starts laying it out. And she's different than me. I think it's because I don't have faith in my abilities or whatever, or I'm too like scientific and rational about it. Whenever I do the cards, I'm always like, okay, now Eric, I pulled for you the 3 of swords. Okay, now the 3 of swords, the sword, suit of emotion. You know, I'd be like, I'm doing all this like explaining to you what the card means. And she was just like, okay, Jackie, blah, blah, blah. She's like telling all the stories about this, that, and the other thing. Anyway, I'll let it slide. She's saying this thing, the other thing. The kids are going, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" And everyone was having a grand old time, and everyone had a great thing. And for $25, it was a wonderful thing. The point: why am I telling that story? Because even C.W. Chanter, rational, this, that, the other thing, still walks through Psychic Row and says, "I got a good vibe off of Rosalinda." And it's no surprise that she gave this excellent reading. And that I read a lot into the fact that as I'm leaving, she compliments me on my Grateful Dead shirt. Right? And I make a joke about Sugar Magnolia. And she has a witty response about Scarlet Begonias. There's magic. There's beauty. And I don't care if it's just because we imagine that it's there. If we imagine that it's there, it's there. It's one thing to spend $25 on Rosalinda and experience a little synchronicity and a little Grateful Dead love. It's another thing entirely to charge people $250 for a remote session where you're not even bothering with the pomp and circumstance and the ceremony and ritual of cards. I got no problem with people working for a living. You know? In the United States of America, there are people that are having to fight hard so that multi-billion-dollar corporations like Amazon and Taco Bell and Mars Company and Nestle and McDonald's have to pay people $20 minimum wage. We can't possibly afford to pay people $20 for minimum wage. You ever work McDonald's on the 11 a.m. to 12 o'clock shift? How about this? Here's what I'm saying. If you're not willing to pay, if our society is not willing to pay somebody, to say nothing of the people in China making iPhones, but if in the United States of America, if it's too much to give somebody $20 an hour to work, $40 with before taxes to work the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. shift at a McDonald's, then I don't want to hear jack shit about someone getting paid $250 to not break a sweat. I don't want this to go on too long, but I'll do this. Hold on. Eric, I sent you this number. Oh, no shit. Yeah. I sent you this number. If you want to call in quick. Actually, no. It's, you know what it is? It's we've been at the 3-hour mark. Don't call in because I gotta go. We gotta end this stream. Listen, I gotta end this stream now. I love you. If nobody told you that they loved you, somebody just did that. Somebody's C.W. Chanter. Okay. And I will talk to you real soon. I will. I promise. It's Friday, so sometime this weekend, if not tomorrow, the day after, if not Saturday, Sunday, I'll be doing the no, listen, it's not that I can't handle the truth. I can't handle the fucking fee. I ain't paying. I'm not fucking calling you fucking long distance, you fucking hooker. Fuck that shit. Anyway, not that we'll never speak. Anyway, listen, I love you. So I do a Patreon live stream, exclusive live stream for as little as $1 a month. You could support me over on Patreon, and you get like this weekly bonus video to the degree that you give a fuck, right? I've got over $15,000 in attorney's fees because Corey Good sued me. Because Corey Good is a jerk. He's a human being. Love him, but a real pain in my ass. Okay, $15,000 pain in my ass, and that's a pain in the ass that I don't fucking need. So if you want to support me for as little as $1 a month, that'd be nice. Also, if you don't want to do that, you just do a one-time, I feel bad for this guy. There's also a link to my PayPal. I'm also on Instagram now. Yes, I am 5 years old and I am on Instagram. I ordered the code red. I ordered the double code red. No, it's Halloween time, so I ordered the voodoo, Brando. Love you. Code red. There you go. You will be. Okay, that's no problem. Mario Heat boomers like CW. You motherfuck. I love y'all. I gotta go. Okay? I'll talk to y'all again real soon. Until then, peace be upon you. Okay?